Good morning. How's everybody doing? We're creeping up on it. Let some people trickle in before we go actually with the live. Hope you're doing good on this Wednesday morning. Let me kill some of these browsers so we don't have lagging issues. Which I feel like we're getting lagging issues. What is going on back there? What is going on? For the 100,000 sub stream, we're going to have lagging issues. What a joke. What a joke. What's the browser that's making me lag? Come on now. I'm just going to start closing stuff. Unfortunately. Oh, man. We had a pretty smooth week last week. With the lagging. I don't know what's going on. Tony might need to, I don't know, quit while he's ahead. See people trickling in here. Good morning, Tony. Good morning. Good morning. Let's put some of these up here on the screen. We got some morning wishes from the early morning viewers. We're going to break 100,000 during this stream. I mean, we projected since like, I think this past Saturday that we were going to hit 100,000 subs today, and our projections were correct. So last night at like 11 o'clock, we had like 99,830. So we picked up a decent amount, and we're going to keep trucking along during today's live. Larry Sharp, good morning. But it's gonna be a good one. It's gonna be fun. Nothing too serious. Gonna get going here in a few minutes. We'll bring in the show intro and have a good time. Oh man, I'm tired this morning. What we got here? Good afternoon, all from Scotland. Sending blessings and love for you all on this testing times. You know, I think these times are not that testing anymore. The test has been passed. I think we're going to start chilling out now in this world. At least I hope so. Patriotic Red says, I had a little lag, but not bad. You're definitely going to get lag. I imagine it's going to continue. I'm running on my landline, but I think sometimes some of these browsers that you have open, I think that's what does it. I think. Maybe it's StreamYard. Maybe I need to move off of StreamYard. It's just so darn easy. A lot of people use OBS, which is a platform or a free program actually, but it's a little more complicated than I prefer. But if the stream is going to suck, well then, we don't have much option, do we? Well, all I can do is try. Sometimes my trying isn't good enough. I see people subscribing and unsubscribing. I told the guys that would happen. They're like, why would they unsubscribe? Because they like seeing it go up and down. They want to test it. The haters want to hate. All that good stuff. It's okay, though. We're definitely going to be breaking 100,000 on this stream. Well, how can you tell that? How do you know? Because we've been studying the analytics for over a year now. We knew that we were going to break 100,000 in July in the beginning of this year. It's all about the analytics. Well, let's get this thing going, shall we? Let's pull this off. I'll be back.
wake up, it's Wednesday, feel the morning light. The world's a bit different, something feels just right. Coffee's brewing strong and the day's brand new. Weird Wednesday, wake up, here's a song for you. From the dawn's early rise to the evening's glow, we dance to the rhythm, let the good times flow. In the heart of the country where the wild winds blow. Weird Wednesday, wake up, let your spirit show. Weird Wednesday, wake up, start your day with a smile. Strum that banjo softly, let's enjoy for a while. Embrace the morning, let your heart take flight. Weird Wednesday, wake up, everything's alright.
Weird Wednesday. Let's get to it. Woo.
Feels just right.
Feels just right. Yeah. Let's go.
Wake up, here's a song for you.
Good morning, friends. Weird Wednesday is here for 3 weeks straight. I feel like the first week we had lag issues. The second week was better, and I feel like today's show might be a little laggy, and we will blame it on, I don't know what we'll blame it on, but welcome to Weird Wednesday Wake Up with Tony Merkel. I'm glad you guys are here. We had quite an interesting week, haven't we? Nothing too crazy has happened, has it? Has it? I don't know. Maybe you guys can fill me in. The link is in the description on Facebook and on YouTube, where you can click the link and join me live on today's show. We are streaming live on Facebook, YouTube, X, Instagram, and Rumble. We are ready to rumble today, aren't we, friends? It's hump day. Now, last week I talked to you, and one of the things I wanted to say to you, I forgot to, because, ADHD. I'm going to blame that a lot these days because I've been talking about it a lot because I was diagnosed ADHD and it made my life make sense. But last week I totally forgot to tell you. And now this literally, you can't make this up. You cannot make this up. I literally was going to tell you something I forgot to tell you last week, and it's gone. It's gone. That fast, it's gone. Unreal, unedited, unscripted, it's gone. Friends, we are going live on YouTube, and I think Facebook has those links, but we are newly live on Rumble. Very exciting stuff, and we are going to be crossing over 100,000 subscribers on today's stream for YouTube. So very special, historic stream that we have in store today. And it is going to be hopefully a good one. Listen, friends, we have issues. When we're waking up this early in the morning, things happen, and sometimes it's in my control, and sometimes it's not. But today I woke up, I think it was 4:30, and I got out of bed and started getting ready to come in today and do this with you. And I'm trying to be quiet in my house. I'm trying to, not be the nuisance that I tend to be, not wake people up, not make the show all about me, Like, I come in here and we sit on this microphone and we talk to people and we host these conversations and these lives. And at home, I try to just be in the background. I try to fade away into the background where I'm just normal Tony. That's what they want at home. You don't want it to be about you. Well, this morning I wake up and by the way, it is really bothering me. I forgot what I was going to say to you guys. It's really bothering me. So if by chance during this stream I remember what I was going to say, I knew I should have wrote it down in my notes here, I'll tell you. But it truly has escaped me and is bothering me. And I feel like it might throw me off today. Just so you know, I'm going to be transparent and let you see the inner workings of my inept brain. So today I'm sneaking around the house like always. When I wake up, I'm trying to be just chill, quiet, sneak in, sneak out kind of thing. And I'm going to into the kitchen and I'm putting my contacts in the kitchen in the dark because I didn't want to be in my bathroom any longer with the light on because the light was going to shine under the door, wake my wife up. And, she's got kids waking her up enough. So I'm putting my contacts in the kitchen in the dark because I don't want to turn on lights and wake up people in their bedrooms. And I'm very impressed by myself because I was like, man, I got ready. I'm good. I'm good. So I grab my bag and I head out the door. And I'm like, phone, wallet, check. I close the door behind me, double check that handle, make sure it's locked. I turn around and per usual, I usually warm my truck up before I leave because when I was a kid growing up, I was taught that you warm the vehicle up before you just drive it. You don't drive it cold. Now, I've been also told that nowadays it's not that big of a deal, but it's habit. So I tend to warm my truck up, and usually I do it before I leave the house. But today I was thinking about you and I forgot to warm my truck up. So I go to warm my truck up. I go to remote start it. Where are my keys? Where are my keys? It's not even 6 o'clock yet. Where are my keys? Oh, shoot. You forgot your keys in the house and you locked the door. Come on, bro. So I'm like, okay, maybe the garage door's open because maybe we forgot to lock the garage. So I go open, pop the garage door open, and I go in through the garage. Now, of course, it's locked. Why would it be open? And I had no other choice but to call my wife. So I call my wife. She ain't hearing it. It's on silent. It's just probably sitting there, not even buzzing on her nightstand. And so I had to do the unthinkable. I picked up some pebbles like a kid in high school, went to my crush's window, and I threw pebbles at the bedroom window to wake her up. Now, I thought it would take like a while. I thought I'd get pretty irritated and frustrated, and I would be like, dang it, come on, just please wake up. I thought I would have to like stand on something to knock on the window hard. I can't throw a big rock at the window. No, it took like 2 or 3 pebbles, and all of a sudden the blinds go up real fast. And I couldn't see her face because it's a dark room, but I'm pretty sure it was the biggest glare in the world after she realized it was me because she probably was freaked out at first. So she comes, open the door up, and I just said I locked my keys out, and she didn't say a word to me. She just turned around and went back in the bedroom. And so that's how my weird Wednesday started. I locked myself out of the house, woke my wife up. She's probably irritated right now at me if she's even watching. She probably had plans to watch, and now she's like, "Nah, I ain't watching that. That Joker woke me up early. Cool guy Tony trying to be the show here." Oh, we got some comments here. It was a Bigfoot. That's a comment off of our new stream on Rumble. Friends, please go ahead and subscribe to our Rumble channel. Look up the confessionals on Rumble and hit subscribe so that just by chance, if we are ever not allowed to be on YouTube, you can find us over there on Rumble. I was messing around with it last week and it's pretty easy. It's pretty easy. So we'll start integrating Rumble into our streaming lives here. But today we are focusing on YouTube. Why? Because we are going to cross the 100,000 subscriber mark today, right here on YouTube. Now, the story with YouTube is when I started podcasting, I was not planning on doing YouTube. I was starting a podcast. That was what I felt I was called to do. And so I started my podcast. And in 2017, this was before Alex Jones was kicked off YouTube and all the other platforms. That's how old I am, kids. And But you saw the writing on the wall. You saw the direction of things, and you were like, "Yeah, I think that I'll probably not even be on YouTube very long. Maybe YouTube won't last. I don't know." And so I didn't try building a YouTube channel until probably about a year in. I think I started a YouTube channel, and that channel was just a rinky dink channel. And something happened. I don't even remember what happened, but that channel wound up getting deleted, and I had to start over. I don't remember exactly when that happened or what happened, but I had to start over, and I started a new YouTube channel. And because I didn't really care about YouTube to begin with, I didn't care, it was whatever. And when I quit driving truck and decided to do the podcasting thing as my day job, I was like, you know what? Let me try with this YouTube thing, because they had just notified me like the week of, I think it was, the week I went full time podcasting. They notified me that they were going to monetize my channel. And I was like, well, that's a blessing. Let me try with this YouTube thing and see what we can do with it. And at the time, we had about 10,000 subscribers on YouTube. This is about 3 years ago. And I started uploading archive videos, just the audio overlapping on an image, and nothing special. And I just started uploading all the archive stuff. And that was very sporadic, not consistent, but it was enough to grow the channel another 10,000. And I went live when I thought I was going to hit 20,000, and we went live and hit 20,000 subscribers live on YouTube. And my reaction was a little excessive. So, good morning, Jack. Jack just walked in the door, arriving early for work. Good on you. And he brought me a gift. What'd you bring me, Jack? I was telling a story. Hang on. He can finish that. So I was talking about subscribers. Yes. So we we got up to 20,000. My celebration on there was a little excessive and more than I thought it would be, but I got really excited when I saw the 20,000 mark, because I was actually trying. And it turns out doing YouTube and actually trying with YouTube adds a lot more work. And I didn't have the energy for that. And so I kind of went in and out with my efforts here on YouTube for a while. And it was last year in August, I attended a social media conference. It was actually like a media conference. I'm actually speaking at the conference this year. The link for tickets is in the description of this video. It's called Armed Media Conference. It's a Christian conference put on by people who are Christians and in media, and they invited me to come speak. So I'll be speaking on Thursday. And since we are no longer able to pull off the Squatchella event, I told them that I can stay for Friday and Saturday as well. So if you're in the Charlotte, North Carolina area and you want to come to Armed Media because you think it'd be beneficial to learn media, go ahead and check out that link. But I was there last year, and it was the first time I went, and I bought tickets. They upgraded me to VIP, and they gave me the treatment. It was really cool. But at that conference, the very first thing they opened up with was something I had never heard before. It revolutionized everything that I thought. I never considered the concept. The very first thing they say is that YouTube is the sun that the social media universe revolves around. And as a person who creates things and is in media, that was news to me. I never even considered YouTube to be a social media platform. And so I went to YouTube last August in the conference, and I look at my YouTube, I dust it off, I blow on it, dust it off, and I think it was just over 50,000 subscribers on YouTube, and I wasn't even trying with it. And I was like, okay, so you're telling me that of all my social media platforms, YouTube is the one that I have the most followers on. and I neglect by far the most. And that is when I started changing the way I thought about video. And Jack was there at the conference, and we spent the entire weekend game planning and thinking about how to implement strategies. And we went ahead and started we came back to Tennessee and we started implementing our strategy. And it was a slow pace at first, but I'd say probably around October last year, we really kicked into high gear. And since then, we've been fairly, I'd say about 98% consistent with putting out our content on a scheduled basis on YouTube. And the result is a year later, we've grown 50,000 subscribers and we're cooking towards 100,000 subscribers today here on YouTube. Now, I'm going to say this. I'm going to be live today until that thing hits 100,000. Now, I have an interview in less than 4 hours from now. The guy who I'm supposed to be interviewing, I hope he's watching right now. The last 2 weeks hasn't shown up, but he showed up the first time, and we were supposed to do a second interview because it was so darn good. And he didn't show up the other 2 times. And at both times he's emailed saying, "I'm sorry, I missed it." He owns his own business. I understand. It's fine. So we're streaming today. I have a noon interview with this guy. If by chance we don't hit 100,000 by then, which I highly doubt we won't, because we've grown over 100 since 11 p.m. last night, I will be canceling that interview on him just to stay with you guys. But I think it's highly unlikely. I have another interview later today with I usually don't say this stuff because I don't tell you guys who I'm interviewing. It's you find out when I do the interview and it's posted on the show. But I think he talked about it. And so I've had people coming to me saying they can't wait to hear the interview that I do with Paul Stobbs. And I'm like, how the heck do you guys know that? But people are finding out, so I'll tell you, Paul Stobbs will be coming on the show. And if you say, who the heck is Paul Stobbs? I would be saying the same thing as of Saturday, because I didn't know who Paul Stobbs was until somebody brought it up to my attention. Maybe it was Joel or somebody. It was Vicky Joy Anderson. I saw on her Facebook, she posted his new book. But basically, his thing is, I'm sure he has more to it, but he goes into talking about Nephilim and how they looked like clowns. Very interesting stuff. So we'll be talking to him today at 4 p.m. my time. He's in the UK. I'll be recording with him. I might be recording with him at my house because I have not seen my family today yet, and I am probably going to be going to church tonight, and that starts at 6 p.m. So I don't want to totally miss out on my family. So I might be doing that at home later this afternoon. So that's what's going on in our world, friends, as far as personally, the confessionals and my personal life. But I'm excited to be here. I'm excited to be here. It's been a pretty wild journey the last 7 years. 100,000 subscribers on YouTube wasn't on my radar, let alone last year, let alone 7 years ago. And yet here we are trying with life, and you see the fruit when you try. So I'm excited about it. If you're here for the first time, if you're one of the 200 people watching live for the first time, if you're on YouTube and you haven't done so yet, please smash that like button and hit subscribe. Do your boy a favor, because we're 16 subscribers away from crossing the 100,000 mark, the six-digit mark. And inevitably, I will tell you all that once you see on the screen that we've crossed 100,000 subscribers, for sure, we will almost immediately drop below 100,000, because that is how this works. So we will go 100,000 to maybe 105, 110 because of the momentum of people hitting subscribe to see it tick. And then people will unsubscribe to see it tick down. and it will go back and forth. But ultimately, today we will be crossing 100,000. And by the time I go to sleep tonight, we will be probably around 110 or 100,050 to 100,100 is what I project, because that's how these things work. 14 away, friends, 14 away. So today I called the show Iron Dawn. Iron Dawn. And if you haven't seen the thumbnail image, I think the thumbnail image will tell you what the dawn is. But before we get into Iron Dawn, let me just say that I am extremely grateful that there was not an assassination on Saturday, because no matter how you think about the world around you, whether you're for or against one party or another, whether you believe it was a psyop, whether you believe it never happened, it was all CGI, whatever your belief is with what happened Saturday, I think we all should be on the same page when it comes to being grateful there wasn't actually an assassination. Because if there was an actual assassination on Saturday, I do not know if I'd be streaming right now. Because imagine what the world, and most of us, if not all of us, can only imagine what the world was like when JFK was assassinated. Whatever the world was like back then, it is completely unbalanced now compared to then. And to further feed that beast, we have social media, round the clock news coverage. The TV doesn't turn off at a certain time at night because everybody goes home and work is over. 24/7, we're inundated with news. 24/7, we're on our screens. We have multiple screens around us. I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 right here on the desk. So I can only imagine the ripple effect and the damage that would have had if it actually would have happened. So thank God that the head was turned. Now, I think it was the same day, and I don't need to go into anything further than that because I'm not a political commentator. I am a retired truck driver that has a paranormal podcast, and I will stay in my lane with it. If you guys are curious as to how I feel about life in general, let alone these kind of things, you can follow me on X, and you can follow me on X, and you can personally follow me on Instagram, and you can check out my stories on Instagram. Usually you'll figure it out real quick how I feel about life. But for my platform, we want to take it the weird direction. So that's what we're going to do. On Saturday, and I'm pretty sure this was Saturday. If not, it was early Sunday. I saw a headline that was so fitting. And I think it was Saturday when everybody was talking about it worldwide, and Elon Musk chimed in. And Elon openly contemplated maybe it's time to build that flying metal suit of armor after he was made aware that a very popular person on X, I'm assuming his last name is Chong. He's very popular, but I don't know him. Ian Miles Chong. I've seen his stuff. I think I even might follow him because he posts some radical stuff and it's just a fun follow. But he posted on X stating that he believes that Elon should triple his security because if they can get to Trump, they can get to you. And so that spawned Elon to suggest that he builds a flying metal suit of armor. I think that's a fantastic idea. And I think it's a fantastic idea for Elon, and I think it's a fantastic idea for Donald. I think it's a fantastic idea for Biden. All these guys. Me, I want a flying metal suit of armor. Why not? I mean, I believe it was those who wrote the Iron Man series for Marvel, the new stuff, not the comic books, but the new stuff, like the movies. With I'm really bad with actors. Jack, help me out. What is it? Robert Downey Jr. Uh, I I believe they had Elon Musk in mind when they were writing that character. I believe so. I believe I've read that somewhere. And isn't it fitting that he would say such things? And of all the people in the world, who is the one that would be most likely to be able to pull something like that off? You know, I would venture to say Elon Musk. If it's going to be privatized and it's not going to be funded by governments, which I mean, do they already have it? Do they already have the metal suit of armor? Give me the thumbs up or thumbs down in the chat if you think that they already have a flying metal suit of armor that they just haven't revealed to the public. I mean, we know that they have advancements in technology that are far beyond the years that we see today. Do you think that they've already crossed that line into flying metal suit of armor? I don't think it's that far stretched of an idea to venture into thinking that that is a possibility. I mean, we see on Instagram them, and I say them as in just them, the public people. They're out on a lake and they have these jetpacks that shoot water out of them and that make them fly up in the air as if they were wearing a suit of armor from the movies, right? Like probably for a couple $100 you can rent them at a facility and go out on a lake and have that experience in your swim trunks. So what are the odds that people with lots of money and technology have the ability to pull something like that off? I think it's pretty likely that that has already been attempted and probably achieved because um, I believe that they have technology and advancements so far to the point that can render you invisible to the naked eye, not magic, which we can go down that road, of course, but just technology. We had an episode years ago. I think it was probably about 2 years ago. I had a guy on, and I believe it was a member show. Jack, if you could look this up and maybe let me know if you could find it. I don't remember what it's called, but he was, it was in Colorado. I'm drawing a blank on a lot of things today. I think there's a lot going on upstairs. I've seen this ticker. I'm trying to think about 10 different things. I already lost a cool thought I had earlier right off the jump. As I said, I forgot to say it last week. Did you see that? That was wild. But this guy, he was in Colorado and he was making crap in his apartment, and basically the bomb squad came in and raided his apartment while he was at work. His brother calls him and says that, hey, the SWAT's raiding your apartment. What'd you do? And he panicked. He's like a prepper dude. He panicked, grabbed his bug out bag at work and went into the woods in Colorado and bugged out. But he went up to I want to say Nord Stream. Why do I want to say Nord Stream? It starts at the end though. Help me out in the chat here, guys. We just talked about it last week. Uh, in Colorado, NORAD. He was near NORAD, so maybe look for NORAD and see if it comes up on the website as in the search. But he was near NORAD, and he was out there to bug out, running from the law, and he comes across invisible individuals with guns out there, and they made chase, and they chased him through the night. He got away and lived to tell the tale, but he was running from the police. And by the way, he turned himself in and he got it all cleared up. He wasn't making bombs or anything, but he had a hater that called him into the police. Six subscribers away, friends. 6 subscribers away from 100,000. And so he's out there being chased by people we presume that were doing an undercover operation under NORAD, whether they were out there training and thought he was part of the training, or whether they were out there training and saw him and decided to chase him off, or it was just a perfect storm. We don't know, but he's being chased all through the night, and he escapes with his life. What's this? What's the episode? Yes. Episode 493, Hunted by NORAD's Cloaking Soldiers. It's a member episode 493. It is not available on YouTube yet, I believe, but we are trying to get the YouTube membership backlog archive uploaded, but that is done in my spare time because Jack has 0. And so when I have a chance, I upload them. Now, if we have individuals coming from NORAD who are invisible with invisible cloaking devices that are so invisible that he can't see who is chasing him other than a translucent type figure that seems to be firing at him. What kind of technology do you think that they have? So to say that Elon Musk suggesting that having a flying metal suit of armor is a stretch, I think is a little bit of a stretch. So who should get the very first flying metal suit of armor? Does Elon Musk test it out for a while himself, or does he donate it to the Secret Service so that they can, I don't know, do their job better, gooder? You know, I've seen a lot. Now, I listen. I have not been unaware of what has been said over the last few days. I'm tuning in consistently, waiting for updates, current theories. And there are a lot of people out there who would have room to know. We're 4 subscribers away from 100,000 friends. And they suggest that it's either ineptness, if that's a word, or purposefulness of what happened on Saturday. Find it interesting. Find it interesting. Now, Elon is suggesting that it might be time for the metal suit of armor. He's also, and I believe at the same event, suggesting emphatically that he is an alien. What? Yeah, old Elon out there up to his old tricks. And I don't know if that's a stretch, to be honest with you. There's just something off about the guy. There's just something off about Elon Musk. I don't know what exactly it is. Like I can't put my finger on it. We've had people on the show. Jesse was one of them who suggested that he was part of, you know, a dark underbelly group of people. He was raised in basically a satanic cult, and he's actually one of the good guys. That's her words. That's what she says. I don't want to say yay or nay to that. I certainly think that what she described on that episode is possible, very real. I just don't know. I can't say. I don't know if Elon is one of those people. But could he be an alien? You know, that's something that I've always thought about with the guy Elon Musk. What are the odds that he is born into the family he was born into? I don't know all the details about his mom, but I think she was like a model, like a pretty famous model. Like it wasn't like he was just like, I don't know, some poor kid that grew up in a trailer park in the middle of Pennsylvania. Like he actually had some kind of jump start to life. At the same time, he's considered one of our modern geniuses. One subscriber away. We should probably pause right here and just watch this. One subscriber away. Who's going to be listen, if you're watching right now and you're not subscribed, I don't know what to tell you. You could be part of history. But here we go. We're about there it is, 100,000, 100,001, 100,002. Jack's throwing stuff at me. You almost killed me on live TV. Oh, I literally almost breathed that in. Oh, look at that. This is what you brought in? Oh, that's funny. I hope that was caught well on camera. I literally almost choked to death because Jack's throwing this confetti at me and I almost breathed in confetti and died. Wow. 100,000 subscribers. That's crazy. What's even more crazy is that we're talking about Donald Trump getting his ear shot off on 100,000 episode, and I'm the one that almost dies. Like, Donald Trump turns his head. There's people out there suggesting that God turned his head, an angel turned his head at the right moment, whoops, snaps his ear. And I'm over here celebrating 100,000 subscribers on YouTube Live, and I'm the one that breathes in confetti and dies. How funny would that be? like I couldn't ask for a better way to go out. Like, the only worst part about it would be knowing my luck. My kids are watching right now. I'm like, is Daddy okay? And Mom's like, we're all going to need counseling from this one. We're all going to need counseling from this one. But here we are, 100,000 subscribers. I guess I'll be making my noon interview today. Thanks everybody for everything that you've been part of over the years. You know, I was thinking about this morning when I was getting ready to come in here. Like, what does it mean to me? Like, do you have a speech? And I'm like, no, I don't have a speech. The thing I'll tell you guys is this. I'm literally 100,000 subscribers because of you. Like, I can't do that myself unless you're buying your subscribers, I guess. I don't know if that's even possible on YouTube. But it should be a celebration, not of me or the show as much as the listeners who listen consistently and pave the way for such accomplishments. I think that it's an oversight when it becomes a celebration about the YouTuber, because you guys are the ones that determine and decide whether the YouTuber is worth one subscriber, let alone 100,000. So very cool stuff. He just brought me a hat. Should I put the hat on? Why not? We'll put the hat on. Little party favor hat. Put that on there. I look like a unicorn now. Which, by the way, the Bible talks about unicorns, and people are like, there's no fossil record of unicorns. You're looking at them every day. You go on, this, what is it, like Discovery Channel or something? They're called unicorns. And what's interesting is back in the 1800s, they called rhinoceroses, unicorns, and bicorns, I think it was called. Like, literally, if you look in an old Webster's dictionary, back in the 1800s, that's what they called them. They called them unicorns. So when they were writing unicorn in like the KJV or whatever, they literally probably were meaning rhinoceroses. So a little tidbit of information there for you. Anyways, you guys are the reason why I'm here. You're literally the reason why this is even happening, the success of the channel. So as much as people are going to say, good job, Tony, I say good job to you guys. You guys, if you guys weren't showing up, I wouldn't be here. I got other things to do with my life. Well, I don't actually right now, because you guys have kind of become my life, but I would be probably fishing a lot, putting more time into homesteading, something like that. So Jack is taking pictures, I guess, of me. Should I smile? There we go. I smiled for in the moment pictures. This show has been derailed. I had a whole thing here. What was I talking about? Let's get back on topic. This episode's brought to you by merkmerch.com. Friends, go ahead, check out your Merk merch. I'm wearing one of the shirts right now. Let me back up. and show you. This is our logo t-shirt, obviously, and on the back, I don't think there's anything actually on the back of this one. Is there, Jack? No. But all the other shirts have something either on the sleeve or on the back neck. And then on the inside, it actually, the tag, it says Merkle Media. Like, this is our own apparel line. I believe there are links on the YouTube channel that you can purchase whatever you'd like. The hot sellers are the Always on the Hunt Bigfoot carrying an AR-15. And, I don't think I've ever looked at it close enough to know if it was an AR-15 or not. But anyways, he's carrying an AR because if you know me, you know that's my thing. And all right, let me just do this real quick. All right, that pause for people who are listening on the replay was because Jack did the Wilt Chamberlain and wrote 100,000 on a piece of paper and had me hold it up for a picture. Anyways, go ahead and check it out, merkmerch.com. That is the future of how we plan on sponsoring the show down the road. I am trying to get out of doing live reads on my show. I never liked doing them, but it also helps Jack work for me. So I'm trying to replace those sponsorships with sponsoring myself because I think it's beneficial, better for everybody if I can do that. So if you can be so kind, if you're looking to get a new t-shirt, head on over to merkmerch.com and purchase a t-shirt or two or a hat. That is getting us, every purchase gets us closer and closer to of getting out of commercial advertising on the show and just sponsoring ourselves. So let's try to bring it back here. What say you? Let's see if okay, we're good. I was talking about, let's see here. Elon Musk is an alien and he's weird. He's like one of those weird geniuses, I guess. I don't know. But if anybody is going to be somebody that can invent this suit of armor, it would be the alien Elon Musk. And let me see here. I want to move into some other things here. Okay, so in the same talk that Elon was talking about, this hat is annoying. In the same talk that Elon was talking about being an alien, and probably even the same talk where he mentioned about the suit of armor, all recent. That's probably why my browser's slow. Interesting. There was a video playing on one of these pages. I think it's probably the same talk. He was talking about the issues around artificial intelligence. And he said Musk also issued a warning about artificial intelligence, stating it posed a more immediate problem than extraterrestrials for humans. He predicted that AI would eventually replace all jobs on Earth, making employment optional and transforming jobs into hobbies, as AI and robots would provide all necessary goods and services. I like the spin he put on that. I really do. Made me feel better, like, because I agree with him. I think that it has the potential to destroy a lot of jobs. And we talked about this last week a little bit with the transportation side of things. But he says eventually replace all jobs on Earth, making employment optional and transforming jobs into hobbies. So essentially what he's saying is nobody will have to go to work. You will just work on the things that you enjoy, and that will be something you choose to do just because it's fun for you. And maybe that benefits society or not. Maybe you can make money or not. I don't know. I don't know what the future holds. How do people make money if you're not working? I don't know. What does that do for the world economy? I don't know. No idea. But that is his prediction. And I tend to agree with him. unfortunately. And another thing that he mentions here is that AI systems need to be trained properly and carefully. He says that we need to put an emphasis, and this is what's interesting is that AI right now is not the AI that I think a lot of people think it is that go down this road. I think AI can definitely be something that is taken over. Like that's why I call it the demon machine. I think that if a Ouija board can be possessed, I think AI certainly can be possessed. But he suggests that AI should be trained properly to be honest. He specifically said that it should be trained to be honest over politically correct. Now, obviously see the value in that. I obviously see the value in an honest assessment of what is to be taken place over what is going to make people feel good. But I think that there's a lot of people that talk about AI and they feel like it is its own self-willed thing. And I don't think I think it's coming. I think it's absolutely coming. But I don't know if we're actually there yet. And statements like him, and I mean, listen, everything's a conspiracy, right? Like you can say everything's a conspiracy, question everything. We could spend all day questioning every little thing. Uh, but theoretically, at least, he would be somebody to know because he is the one that was part of the launching of ChatGPT in its infancy. He since has not been part of the company, but then he has also started his own AI. I think it's called Grok, Grok. Grok. I think that's what it's called and you can access it on X. So like you would think that he would know about the whole idea of training AI. But I think that eventually, whether it's very, very soon, I've heard people say it's like 100 years away. There ain't no way I think the singularity happens 100 years from now. I think it's way closer because if AI builds on itself, and we've seen the advancements in the last 2 years, I think it's been about 2 years that we've had access to AI the way we do. And it started out on Midjourney for me. I saw Midjourney, which is a program that you can access through the Discord app, and you can make AI images. And I was messing around with it, and I'm like, I'm over. Listen, guys, when I'm not on the show, I really enjoy overdosing on basketball. I absolutely love basketball, and so my favorite basketball team is the Philadelphia 76ers. I've been a fan since I was a child. I'll always be a fan, even though I think that the NBA is psyoped. But I was trying to make some images as like make, Joel Embiid, Tyrese Maxey, and it was making them. They were kind of like deformed and stuff, but you could tell. To now, it's advanced so much. You see the videos that are coming out from AI. Wait until those videos are totally accessible to everybody, probably for free eventually. Uh, we can clone people's voices. We can clone people's image and have them doing things on video that they never did. It's only a matter of time, and I'm going to say this out loud, and you guys, somebody listening, will wind up doing this now. But it's only a matter of time until somebody clones my voice. I've done it. I've cloned my own voice. It's pretty easy. So it definitely presents a whole world of problems for sure. The further we get into this AI thing, but I believe I said this last week. I'll say it again. I don't think that I don't think I don't even think it's possible to put it back in the box. But I think that we need to live our lives with flexibility. Excuse me, with flexibility and awareness as to what your personal lines are that you won't cross. And then you have to have the integrity to not cross them. AI's here, and it's going to advance and build upon itself. And I do think that one day it will be self-thinking and self-aware. But he suggests that we need to train it properly so that we aren't more doomed, I suppose. I'm not sure what his reasonings are behind that statement, but he believes that we need to train it properly so that it is not politically correct, but rather just honest with real information, wherever that information goes. So we have Elon Musk saying he's an alien, talking about having a suit of armor for himself, for future presidents, current presidents, people of importance, people who just want to have fun, but having a flying suit of armor. What would that look like? How high would it go? Would it actually look like the movies eventually? At some point, I imagine when you first start implementing such things, it would take about an hour to put it on, right? Like you can't just push a button, it's going to come over you like it does in the movies. But could it get to that point where eventually we get to a point where we have the suit of armor and it will just, I don't know, on voice command, open up and do its thing? Maybe, maybe. But will it open up faster than a bullet? Maybe it will. Maybe it will sense bullets. It will sense an incoming bullet and automatically open up. You'll be in the middle of a speech like he was on Saturday, and all of a sudden just opens up and everybody knows there's a threat because it detected it. Do you want to put your trust in technology that much? You know, my truck will alert me when an impact is imminent. This is technology I had in my tractor trailer when I drove truck. My personal pickup truck has this technology, and it is flawed because I have never ran into anything with my truck. But I've heard that alarm on my truck several times. Now, granted, yesterday it was legit because I think I was messing with my phone and traffic stopped in front of me. And so I actually had to swerve and went up alongside of the car that was in front of me to avoid the accident. So thank God for that technology yesterday. But there's a lot of times that I'm driving down the road and I'm looking and I see there's brake lights on and I got a good gap because I look at my phone. So I need to drive with a good gap. And it just starts going off. And I'm like, chill, bro, chill. So do we want that kind of technology just in charge of opening up when it feels like there's a threat? Better safe than sorry, maybe? Is that how we should look at it? Better safe than sorry? Maybe. Maybe. Would this suit of armor make it to the moon? Could we get to the moon in the suit of armor? You know, last week we talked about the technology of static electricity being utilized as propulsion and how Charles Bueller, I wanted to do it last week and I didn't do it. I have to do it today because the show's already been derailed. My mind's all over the place. But Charles Bueller believes that they discovered already pre-existing physics, but they discovered a new way of approaching it that will utilize static electricity to propel at rates and speeds and abilities with no fuel for combustion that's unthinkable. And he believes that we could go from Earth surface to the moon in 2.5 hours and go to Mars in 5 to 6 hours. And then we did our calculations with the Demon Machine to get to Neptune. It would take, I think it was 5 to 6 days. Pretty wild stuff. So Alto Native says, I'm 100,005. Well, thank you, Alto Native in the chat, for identifying yourself as the 100,005 subscriber. Fifth, I should say. But if we had a metal suit of armor that could fly, Like we're talking futuristic stuff here that I don't, and I think most people tuning in probably don't agree with me that it's not out of the equation a possibility that this could be something that already exists and certainly in the future. How far into the movies do we want to go with this? Because in the movies, we're talking about space travel. We're talking about the ability to do wild things. Let's forget about the rocket launchers that pop out and all that stuff. But could we at least get to the moon for some would say the first time? But could we get back to the moon with this new technology? Because we threw away all the old technology. We scrapped all the old technology. And so we need to reinvent technology to get to the moon because in 1969, was the moon landing in 1969? I believe it was in 1969. 1969, we'll just go with that. In 1969, we had the technology, but then we destroyed it on purpose. That's what Bart Sibrel says. I actually have a clip here of Bart Sibrel. I might play later. I might not. Depends on how healthy this computer is for me moving forward today. But I 1 second. Hey, Jack, can you close that door? The hair salon next door is alive and well today. And so we need to close the door to the studio because I will lose my mind hearing them. Anyways, could this go to the moon? In other news, NASA has found hidden passageways under the moon. So if we have this suit of armor that can go to the moon, will we be allowed to go to the moon and check it out ourselves? You know, the whole moon landing thing, I don't think there's anybody that would suggest that the astronauts over the years that have been involved with the 1969 moon landing, if I have that date correct, acted suspicious. There have been press conferences with them that were very suspicious. And don't get me started on old Buzz Aldrin, right? Somebody was talking to me recently about Buzz Aldrin and how they have connections to him. I don't remember who that was. But maybe if they're listening right now, you can hook me up. Hook me up, bro. But why were they suspicious? What did they see on the moon? If they went to the moon, let's just go with the fact that they went to the moon. Okay, I know there's a hot topic debate about all of it. Space isn't real. The Earth is flat. The moon's not real. Moon's hollow. All that stuff. Let's just go with the idea that we went to the moon. Why did they act the way they acted? Did they see something there? The spot that they landed, let me pull it up here if I can quickly. Okay. The spot that they landed on the moon was the Sea of Tranquility. Sounds peaceful. They land in the Sea of Tranquility and they drive around on their moon rover, collect some rocks and they ditch. They bail. Now, ironically or unironically enough, the Sea of Tranquility is where they have recently found this opening on the moon. This tunnel system, this cave, this large opening on the moon was found recently in the Sea of Tranquility. Well, doesn't that make you just sit there? Maybe not. But for me, it makes me wonder, how'd they miss that? How'd they miss that? They land in the Sea of Tranquility. They explore around the moon. And yet not a word was mentioned about a giant opening that goes into the moon. No word on the tunnel system that jumps into the moon there and goes to who knows where. Microsoft, if you can trust them, bro, has an article about it. And in the very first sentence of the article, there's a big tunnel on the moon, and we can't be 100% sure how it got there, but it could be a handy place for humans to live, providing there are no aliens inside. You know, we get these talks and these YouTube videos and these projections of thought about Antarctica. And what's so secret about Antarctica? Why is Antarctica off limits? Why was there a meeting at Antarctica with all these world leaders? I think in 2016. If I remember correctly, I think it was 2016. That's got memory hold. Like nobody talks about that. The Pope and the Black Pope meeting in Antarctica with other world leaders. Why? Why? I don't know why. But there's a lot of people that talk about inner Earth, hollow Earth, and how there are entrances to inner Earth, hollow Earth in Antarctica and at the North Pole. Shout out to Doug the Head for the super chat. Let me pop this up here. Nice to catch you live as I'm from Georgia, now living on the mystical island of I don't know, Philippines. He's on the Philippines. That's what he says. P.S. Enjoyed the Giants After Dark too. God bless you and fam. Thank you very much, Doug. We did do an After Dark live show. Me and Wes did for our members this past Friday. It was a huge success. It was a hit with the kids, and we do plan on doing more. In fact, he said he was going to call me today so we can start planning the next one. So if you're a member, you can look out for more of those. But thank you, Doug, for the $10 super chat. How kind. How kind. Here they come. I didn't say that for you guys to keep giving me super chats, but I'll do one more, or not one more. Let me just state this. If you guys give me a super chat, I will read the super chat here on the show. I didn't do it last week, and I saw one come through, but my brain just glitched. John Sergey says, here's to the confessionals and free the rabbits from the guy who coined free range rabbits. Woohoo. Thanks, John. And yes, everybody should go check out Free the Rabbits podcast. That is Joel Thomas's new podcast. And it is on YouTube, Rumble, and all your podcast playing apps available for you. Go ahead and hit subscribe, leave nice reviews, and give it a gander. So if we know that there's a lot of talk about inner Earth access points to inner Earth through holes in the ground in Antarctica, and theorize what lives in it, not just us, but also Hollywood. I think it was the new or one of the newer Godzilla movies. I feel like there's been a lot of them recently, like in a very short period of time. But the one I saw, and most people know I don't really watch a ton of TV and movies. I used to, but then I started a podcast and didn't have time to. I used to go to the movies a lot too. But I did watch this one, and it's when Godzilla and Kong were fighting and the whole thing unfolds. But they had to take Kong to inner Earth so he could get charged up with his thing and then come up and fight Godzilla. They talk about this stuff in the movies too, right? And I often believe that movies are a reflection of reality and not just pure fantasy. I do believe that movies, directors of movies, authors, not all, but some do have access points. They do have access to information, whether it's been given to them by human or entities. They are getting information. And sometimes these authors wake up from what they think is just a radical dream and they write about it. But in reality, it's been written down and given to them to be written down from things on the other side. I do believe Stephen King is one of the hot take. I believe Stephen King is one of those authors. So the moon, people talk about being hollow. Now we have in the Sea of Tranquility, where Buzz Aldrin, Lance Armstrong, and the others that I don't know their names landed, drove around, hung out, played golf, set up a flag. God bless America, salute it. They missed a giant hole in the ground that goes into inner moon. Larry Ragland, thanks for tuning into the show. The man, the myth, the legend. Love you, man. Thanks, Larry. Appreciate the $10 super chat, sir. Everybody should check out Larry Ragland's YouTube channel as well. He was on the show. He was the one that recently did the CERN episode with me. That was a heater that took off. I didn't even plan that one. That came out the week everybody was talking about CERN. We had it on the schedule for months to go out that week, and just worked out perfect. So we're gonna go to the moon, to the Sea of Tranquility, hang out on it for a while, come back to Earth, hold weird press conferences, call Buzz Aldrin going crazy, seeming since the turn of the century. It seems like my entire life, Buzz Aldrin has been said to be going crazy, that he's an old man, he's losing his mind. Maybe he's not. Maybe he's an old man that has a lot of internal conflict. You know, maybe Buzz Aldrin was told to shut up about something, and it wasn't that the earth is flat, that they never went to the moon, but what they actually found on the moon. People talk about that the astronauts, when they went to the moon, they were actually approached by aliens and told never to come back. What if that's actually true? What if the moon is a satellite campus for the other realm to exist? What if the moon is a portal to itself? What if the hole in the moon is a portal to the other realm that was used to gain access points by the fallen? I think it's L.A. Marzulli who talks about. Let me retract this, because I don't know if it was L.A. Marzulli. Somebody, it might be L.A. Marzulli, but I don't remember. Somebody suggests that the fallen set up base camp on Mars a long, long time ago. The moon's closer. So I don't know. But what if the astronauts go to the moon, they land in the Sea of Tranquility, they discover this giant hole? I mean, I can't find it here. I didn't write it down. But this giant hole. All right, here it is. Referring to this hole in the ground, this tunnel system that they're finding. It's thought to be up to 80 meters long. Listen, I'm going to show how dumb I am right now, but I don't care. I think you guys have probably figured this out already. I really wish when I'm reading an article that they would put it in measurements that I get. Okay. I'm not in Europe. I'm not in Australia. I know the rest of the world gets the inches thing and they think we're dumb. Well, newsflash, I'm dumb. So when you say 80 meters long, I'm like, I have a hard time gauging how long that actually is, but it's pretty freaking long. Thought out to be 80 meters long, 45 meters wide, and between 130 and 170 meters below the surface. It stretches out beneath a pit around 100 meters wide. That's huge. That's absolutely huge. And there's a couple of articles about it talking about how, I think it's projection. It's them, theorizing what is going on once you get into the hole. But in 2014, I guess they sent a rover up there, and they have a new way of analyzing the data that has brought this out and to their attention. And this article is posted yesterday. So this is all very new. But new way of analyzing data, and they came to discover this hole in the Sea of Tranquility where the astronauts landed. That's where my brain kicks in, because we all like, as fishy as we feel Elon Musk is, whether his intentions are fishy, he's an alien, he's just weird. Smart guy, but weird. Weird guy. I mean, when you hear him talk, he sounds like a robot. No charisma, no attitude, any kind of reflections in his voice. They're just monotone. You know, he's a weird guy. It's a very weird guy. And as weird as we see him, he's also a super smart guy. I don't know where I was going with that. I got distracted by my computer. There's a giant hole in the ground in the moon, and they're suggesting that it goes very far into the moon. What could be down there? This article suggests that humans could live inside the moon if aliens aren't already there. There are people out there that say that when the astronauts landed, they were approached by aliens. What if that's true? What if the aliens came out of that hole? Is that hole a physical hole, or is there like some kind of interdimensional film that covers it? And when you walk through it, that film, you're piercing dimensions, other realms, other worlds, universes. Limitless possibilities. Limitless possibilities. So speaking of this moon and whether we went to the moon or not, I want to bring this video up here I found on Instagram, and I found it I don't know, interesting. So let me pull this thing up here, because we should be able to have audio on it too. Hopefully that is true. And I'm not lying to you. Let me hit share here. So this video pops up on the feed, and just listen to what this guy says. I'm assuming he works at NASA. Interesting what he says here.
Shaft that you rotate.
Oh, hang on a second. I over prepare. I had Instagram muted. So let me refresh this page.
Shaft that you rotate.
So, I mean, like on the space station, how many of these would you have?
7, because we have 7 windows.
What happens if you get a leak on that?
Then you have a leak.
You just have a leak.
And what you would do
you
is
lose air.
Yeah, you would probably seal the whole cupola off. And then there's probably a plan, I don't know off the top of my head, but there's probably a plan for replacing the mechanism. Might require a spacewalk.
So my question is, how can you operate a lid on the outside of the space station by manipulating something mechanical on the inside of the space station without losing air pressure?
It's called real good engineering.
What the mission goals are for your time on orbit, and what responsibilities and jobs are going to be yours when you're up there.
Well, I'm one of the science guys, and I'm one of the repair guys. And fortunately, there's lots of science and lots of repair to do on station, so that will certainly keep us all busy. I'd go to the moon in a nanosecond. The problem is we don't have the technology to do that anymore. We used to, but we destroyed that technology, and it's a painful process to build. And
oh man, I mean, I don't know. That's not very convincing, is it? That's not very convincing. Let's do another one. This one here is video of the moon landing. The date here says 1972, and it's comparing video of 2023. You know, friends, I'm just asking the questions. But did we go to the moon? because the more we look at these things, the more I wonder. Let's pull this one up here. So I hope you guys can still hear me, but this this video is showing footage from the 1972 rover running around on the moon. We've since destroyed the technology, and in 2023 we're streaming from the moon, and it's pretty glitchy. The thing that, you know, stands out here, I think everybody would agree, that the absolute clarity of the 1972 footage compared to the 2023 footage, it's evident the difference. Now, I think that, you know, the whole thing is that there was somebody there standing with a camera filming, and that's why it's so clear. But man, they had HD back then. That's some wild stuff right there. 1972, 2023. Man, 2023 footage, that stuff, that thing looks as laggy and sketchy as my stream. That thing is as bad as my stream. 1972, that's like 720p right there. Maybe 1080. Yeah, it's interesting. It's interesting. What do you guys think? What do you guys think? Did we go to the moon? Did we not go to the moon? I don't know, but I'm starting to wonder. It's, you know, there's so many red flags that just don't seem to make sense. And for me, I just can't seem to get around the fact that we do not have the technology anymore, they say. Starting to wonder if they destroyed the technology because when they went there, they discovered a giant hole in the Sea of Tranquility where they landed, and whatever was there told them not to come back, and they obeyed. They listened. Would Donald Trump fly to the moon? Fly me to the moon. You know, if he had a spacesuit, an armored metal spacesuit like Armor Man, could we just go and find the answers for ourselves? Friends, nobody's calling in. I need you to call in, or else that's it. No more show. So hit the link in the description of YouTube and on Facebook if you want to join the conversation. I'd be happy to bring you on. This episode has been brought to you by mercmerch.com. That's mercmerch.com for all your apparel need, Merkle Media apparel needs. And we're today talking about, I don't know what we're talking about today. I guess it's a conglomeration of Iron Man suits going to the moon, designed by Elon Musk, the alien, and what we discovered there on the moon. I see people in the chat saying that, you know, the moon is fake. I don't necessarily agree with that statement, like, at all. But it's okay. It's all right. Hey, Jack, if you're tuning in here, if you could come into the studio and hop on a microphone real quick, that'd be great. I will turn on your microphone now so that he can be hopping on here so we can talk to him real quick, producer Jack. But hit the link in the description if you want to hop on with me. 400 people, not one caller. Maybe it's not working. Maybe it's not working. Hit that link and see if it even works. I'll see you pop in. Hop on your phone and hit that link. What microphone is that over there? One? All right. Does moon equal soul recycler? Interesting. Are we recycling souls on the moon? NASA means to deceive. I'm reading the comments here. Anonymous henchman says NASA means to deceive. Now, are you saying NASA is meaning to deceive you, or are you saying that NASA means deceive? I think you're meaning both, to be honest with you. Got ourselves a super chat here. We have NorCal Mex Fortune. As I'm reading it, I'm understanding what it is. NorCal Mex for Trump. Funny. Cool. Member on your app, my top podcast to go to. I think I went through all the episodes in 4 months and a few of them multiple times. Thank you very much. We are very excited that you are a member, my friend. NorCal Mex for Trump. Without the members, we suffer, as in we're unable to do what we do. So thank you very much for being a member, and thank you for the love and the super chats, friends. We have Jack here in studio, so Jack is going to be on a microphone hanging out and stuff. And we have Jeremy popping in here. Jeremy is here live on the show. Jeremy, how are you, sir?
Hey, man. You don't get an echo from me, do you?
No echo. No echo.
Yeah. I'm actually Doug the Head. I'm in the Philippines right now. Yeah.
Oh, okay. You're the guy that mentioned about the Philippines.
Yeah, man. I would love to try to do a confessional with you sometime, but I just think I don't know. Maybe if I ever get back to Georgia. But
what took you to the Philippines?
kind of the state of the U.S. and the dollar goes so much further here. I live on a small tropical island for $3,000. $3,000 will pay for oceanfront rental for a whole year. You know what I mean? Yeah, it's mad.
So they got internet there?
Yeah, I got Starlink, brother.
Oh, you're good, bro.
It's not as good as it could be because I just got it, and there's a little obstruction. But I got some longer cable coming.
I'll tell you what, my friend. If the U.S. dollar's value keeps going down the way it's going, we might be neighbors.
Yeah. Hey, man, there's a lot of people doing it, and it makes sense. Hey, let me tell you real quick. I'm gonna speak fast because I don't want to take too much time.
You're fine.
But I've spent 8 years in the U.S. Air Force. I had the security clearance, and I've had some.
Oh no. That's Starlink.
What are the chances it's right at that point, too?
I know. He's like, I got security, and boom. Cut off. There he is. He's back.
Yeah. But if you ever look into some of the things, all I'll just say is that we have stuff, but I think anything they've shown the public is just like what you were saying about the pixelation of those 2 videos.
Yeah.
Man, come on. How are you gonna get that good quality in the 70s and you can't get it in the 90s?
Yeah.
But yeah, there's some strange. I've just had. I live on a lake in Georgia. It was between 2 Air Force bases, and I hate to say, we'll just say black triangles used to fly a path because I would spend all night catfishing out on the lake, and dude, it was so evident. And they would shut off traffic up there, But it was so evident. I've taken friends out to go see them, and they'll fly right over you, quiet, So sometimes people say stuff, and I'm like, I don't think that's extraterrestrial.
You think it's terrestrial advanced
Oh, I'm
technology?
sure.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sure. I mean, I know.
My man Starlink is acting up on this conversation. Elon, he wants to send us to the moon in spacesuits, but he can't give us strong internet. How are we going to do this? Jeremy, man, I don't know what to tell you. There you are. You're back.
Yeah.
Let's bring it in for a landing before they take you away again.
Yeah, no worries, no worries. Anyway, man, it's just great to catch you real time because here in the Philippines it's 9:30.
Well, I'm glad you hopped in and you gave us some information to chew on with whether Tony should move to the Philippines or not. Let's leave it to the people. Let's leave it to the people. Give me a thumbs up or a thumbs down in the chat if you think I should move to the Philippines and live next to Jeremy. It's a possibility. It's a possibility because hey, listen, man. I'm saying, like, we can take the stories anywhere in the world, but the way things are going right now, Jack's gonna be out of a job soon because I can't afford bread. So sorry, Jack, but it is what it is. Jeremy, it was good having you on, man. I'm gonna remove you here because Starlink and Elon's okay with us talking about him being an alien, but he is not okay with us talking about Starlink and how bad it is. So let's bring on Janelle. Janelle popped in here. If you want to hop in, friends, go ahead and hop in here. We'll bring you up here on this. Janelle, before we dive into the topic of conversation with you, I wonder if people need an invite. Last week nobody called in, but I didn't say to call in. The link was there. If the link's there, it's meant for you to hit, friends. So hop on with me. Janelle, how are you? Where are you from?
Hi, it's so nice to meet you, by the way. I'm from Ohio, Toledo area.
Very
So,
familiar. Very familiar.
yeah. God bless you. Oh my gosh.
I had my first time in Toledo was I was helping. Well, if you're in Toledo area, you're familiar seeing the big red tractor trailers that say Pitt, Ohio. I used to drive.
Oh yeah.
I used to drive for them, and they took me from my Philadelphia terminal and had me drive for the Toledo terminal for a week because they had a really bad snowstorm and they got backed up. And I had to go to Detroit and do deliveries up in Detroit. And the very first day I went up there, everybody in Toledo was telling me, they're like, listen, when it gets dark, get out of the city. And I'm like, man, I'm from Philly. I ain't worried about freaking Detroit. Like, you kidding me? I'm good. I go up there and I was like, oh. I was like, it's different here.
Yeah. Oh God. Yeah. No, I agree.
So what can I do for you?
Oh, I was just I guess I had some commentary. I don't know if you're like me or not when it comes to this moon landing thing, and I got a couple of like ways I vacillate, I guess is what I kind of say, because sometimes like I change what I think, because I'm open to that conversation of like, you might not know everything, it's whatever. But like part of me wants to be like the people who say we didn't go fair, people say we did go okay, but maybe like it has to be somewhere in between for me, in my personal take, where it's like, okay, something happened out there, not the way that they told us, or like you know they say about Stanley Kubrick and stuff, but everybody's heard that. Whatever that is, maybe they did film. I think it's some. I'd have to look it up. I think some of it is confirmed that they did some studio work just to kind of fill in the blanks, if you will, of like what actually happened up there. Um, I didn't get to pull it up before I hopped on, but there is a documentary on Amazon Prime, and I think it's either Out of the Blue or something about evidence for UFOs. It's one of the two. If I could send it to you, I'll probably pop it in like the comments or something, because that one goes about the audio transcript of the astronauts when they got to the moon and they were going around behind the moon on the dark side. Yeah, it's wild. I'm like, oh, that's the actual guys that were purportedly actually there, and they hear something really weird in space where there's like, not supposed to be anything, and they hear something that is akin to music. And maybe somebody in the chat or something could back me up if you know what documentary on Amazon Prime I'm talking about. But that is one that I've actually come back and rewatch just because that piece of like there's redacted stuff that happens in this conversation that they have multiple times about, hey, do you hear that? Yep, they're back again. And it's like, that's their reaction is, oh, the noise is back. And I'm like, how would you feel being, out there in the middle of nowhere and hearing those,
So they're on the dark side of the moon when they hear this, right?
Yes, from what I remember.
And the way you say it and the way it sounds, they probably didn't. I'm assuming the Sea of Tranquility isn't on the dark side of the moon. So here's the thing. Here's the thing. So if the Sea of Tranquility where they landed is not on the dark side of the moon, and they traveled to the dark side of the moon, there is no way, in my mind, that the 500-meter crater of the Sea of Tranquility that they landed, they didn't explore thoroughly. They didn't. Had they missed the giant hole in the ground? I'm telling you,
That's
I think
a good question.
I think they knew the hole was there and they were told to shut up about it.
Probably, because there was something, and I can't think of the exact words that were used, but there was a conversation between at least two guys, of whom which I don't remember, that were astronauts being like, yeah, well, we're not gonna, they wouldn't believe us anyway. That was basically what was said, and that's in official documentation now about their trip. And so I just wonder, just from who's the guy who was talking about it? He was older, and I think he had suffered a stroke by that time, and he was just being verbatim, like, not about the moon, but later we had something land on a dry lake bed, and that footage got taken to Washington. I never saw it again.
Wow.
So these guys have tried to say things, but then I think as they got to be on a leash to some degree, because if you're in, you're in, and it's hard to come out with stuff like that. And I don't know, people say they see things on the moon too, like the structures. I know you've probably even talked about it. I listen regularly to your podcast, and I find that fascinating within itself. But the things they see in the atmosphere, there's been satellite footage, and maybe it was in that documentary as well, that were captured, and they're like, oh, that's just like light refraction, the stereotypical like debunker or whatever. But then they're moving just like how you would see some other more credible footage, we'll say, of UFOs down here, where they kind of do this little, it doesn't make sense because they're kind of jittering around like that, and then they zoop, and that was happening on the outside of our atmosphere, and there were numerous ones spotted during one of these outer Earth trips that we, apparently had taken or whatnot. So I just wonder.
Yeah. Well, I too wonder. And there's a guy here in Tennessee. I think he's in Tennessee or just across the border in Kentucky. He's got a Instagram. His name is, I'm drawing a blank, but him and I were talking, and he's probably gonna come in here in studio. He's got a pretty big following. I think it's like over 500,000 people follow him on Instagram. He does like conspiratorial type stuff. And the other day he posted a picture. He has a I think it's a Nikon. It's like 8,000 or something. I don't remember. It's a camera model that I guess really zooms in really, really well.
Oh,
and
yeah.
He has one, and he zooms in on the moon, and he posted a picture with his finger pointing at something on the camera and like suggesting what is that kind of thing. And I want to talk to him about it. I want to ask, because I don't know what he was pointing at. Like, I couldn't see what he was seeing, but I was looking in the comments, and people were like, the X. I'm like, I don't see an X. But like if there is an X that I'm missing, could that be misconstrued as maybe a pyramid? Like a half an X. And so I want to talk to him about that, and also ask him why would you not just put a good old red circle around it and put in the description what we're looking at, man? Like, come on, man.
Tell us.
You're killing me. You're killing me. You know why he does that? You know why he does that? Because he gets people commenting then, and then it drives the algorithm, and it gets more eyeballs on the post. Guaranteed. I'm
That's
picking
the
up on
bait.
these games. I'm picking up on these games. So, but yeah,
Yeah,
no, I think there's definitely weird things about space, the moon, Mars, and I think the way the private sector is working right now with our own tech advancements outside of government funding. I don't
hmm
think I think the rabbit's going to be let out of the hat pretty soon. It's only a matter of
yeah,
time until anything that has been concealed in secret will be revealed, and
right,
unless they shut it down, which they definitely could. I mean, they really could just say, "No, you're not going to do that," and what are you going to
right.
do? You know, like I don't know.
Yeah.
We live in some weird
No, I,
times.
I agree. Sorry, yeah, no, I definitely agree. Just because there's been so many attempts like that, and I think what some people have said is like, look, it's not going to be the big explosion, fireworks disclosure that maybe a lot of people have really ultimately hoped for. It's going to be people on the ground, like you were kind of saying. Um, I mean, full disclosure, I've seen things that I don't understand in the sky, not even that far from my house. And one of the things reflecting on seeing something like that is that ours or is that something else? You know, I have no idea. So part of me wants to really know because when I hear you talk about your curiosity and such, I am like, I am the same exact way where I'm like, I need to know. There's no way that I can't know. I need to know this. And I'm like, I'm so curious to a point of like a fault sometimes. And um because I did see something strange, it makes me want to be investigative and it makes me like I have to put it on its shelf sometimes because it gets just too excitement, you know, too much excitement, and there's no kind of like end to that, you know, because there's not a definite hard line of this is where we get to know everything, you know. So yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
Uh, I don't know what Jack's doing. What are you doing? Oh well, I'm wrapping this up. He can come in though, and leave that door open. It's hot in here. Uh, but yeah, no, I think that one of the things that I would be remiss and I think be crucified for if I didn't say, "What'd you see?"
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Leave that door open.
Yeah. So as far as what I saw, I've seen more since then, but it's not like very like, oh my God, what's that in the sky? You know, and you're freaking out and you're crashing your car. No, it's not like that. It's like some off in the distance, and I'm like, that looks kind of suspicious. You know what I'm saying? But the first one was not that way. So I was going somewhere in the evening about 7 o'clock at night, and we had like no clouds that day for once in Ohio, if anybody knows what I'm talking about. So it was actually kind of a clear blue sky in the summer. So it was still pretty light out, being that it was 7 at night. Um, and I thought as I was taking a slightly different route because of some construction, I thought that I saw a blimp in the sky. So I was like, I'm little Miss Wonder Child. So I'm over here like, oh, cool. You know, and I slow down to look at it and I'm looking and I'm like, oh, is that like Goodyear? And then I'm like, there's no logo. There's no cockpit. There's no rivets. There's no nothing. Like the striping that you kind of see from like the bands that go through to make up the structure of a blimp.
Yeah.
And it was the best description I can give you. If you look up, not the Chicago one, but more like the New York bean sculpture, it was just this floating chrome thing that had absolutely no definition, only a couple of 100 feet up in the air. I have no idea how big it is. It was at least as big as a school bus, if I had to guess, but I have no real marker of that. It's hard to tell when things are in the air. Um, and it was like as soon as I locked eyes on it, it just like it was hovering just like a blimp, kind of would just be, you know, chilling in the air. But as soon as I consciously locked eyes on it, it just went right beneath the tree line and over what should have been, if anybody knows the 475 highway, it's very big. There's like a bunch of lanes of traffic, people coming home from work and stuff. People should have seen it. And so I was like shaking because I was on my way to go somewhere, and I wasn't like scared. I was like excited. I was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe that just happened. And nothing on the news,
Of course.
nothing in my local news. And I'm like, but I saw that, and it was in a very densely populated area, which made me feel so all the tumultuousness of like trying to like sort that out in my head, like that doesn't make any sense. That
Yeah.
it just went behind the trees, right? It would have been right over that highway, and it was gone by the time I pulled around and was looking for it. So I thought maybe it could have landed, but then again, it went too far away from where the housing area ends to the road, so it would have been right over that road. 'Cause I maybe hyperfixated on Google Maps and looked at it again and again until I had to, like, I know that this is the direction it went,
Right.
and so like just trying to logic it out because I was all excited. And it just I have been different ever since. Like since then, I was more open to talking about paranormal experiences or things that I have experienced when I was a kid, and it's actually brought me closer with some really cool people. And I mean, I just feel like I've been learning a lot, even though I don't know anything really. It's kind of cool. But
Yeah.
yeah, that was crazy.
We don't know anything, but it sounds like, I mean, have you ever thought that maybe that experience was more targeted for you than it was for, because I mean, if it was the way you described it and nobody else seems to have seen it, could have been something that was more for you than anything else.
And that bugs me if that is the case, because I don't like to think that. I mean, everybody's like, their own individual selves, but I don't feel like I necessarily stand out about, like, or I'm not more special than somebody else, but because of that factor where it was like absolutely nobody else that, saw it. And I even asked in a like Facebook page or something because I was like, okay, I'll be brave. And that bugs me in a way. But then I am Christian, full disclosure, absolutely. And I looked at that and I was like, look, I know there's some nuance to this whole topic, and I really hope that that was like angelic, the good guys. I really hope. But I have, because if it was targeted, I'm like, shoot, dude. Like that's if it's not a good guy that was like, hey, what's up? I'm
Well,
like,
yeah, I
no.
don't think I don't think I think that's probably the wrong way to look at it as far as like whether, there's nothing special about me. I don't it's not a matter of being special a lot of times. I think it's just a matter of will, what they want, what it wants.
Oh,
Um,
yeah. I
like
wonder
I
why.
yeah, I think that a lot of times we because we are the main character of our movie, so like we know us and we're like, well, this doesn't fit the script. Like I'm nothing special. You're nothing special until you become something special. You know what I mean? Like it's just the way it
Yeah.
works. I mean, even for me, as I'm still a loser, but I was a loser that was just a truck driving kind of guy, aimlessly wandering through life, and never thought that anybody would know who I am because I had no desire to do any of this stuff. And then here I am 7 years later. So
Right.
we're often the main character. We are the main character of our story, and we often look at ourselves in a way that I think isn't always as accurate as it could be because uh, you know we're sane people and
Yeah.
we're mostly sane people, and we're honest about who we are as people in general. So you know
I think you
I
have a point. I've struggled with that too. I wonder, what do you think of this? If it's if it's them willing, I'm curious on your thoughts. Some people say that I've heard like second sight or something like that, or sensitivity, spiritual sensitive, stuff like that. If that means you're just more clued into like some of the things you've discussed, like maybe more dimensional or vibrational or something like that, where it's like you are on a wavelength that allows you to peek at it for a moment
Mhm.
before that closes or goes away, or because that's the only other thing I thought maybe was the possibility, because I've been able to, and I always like try to ignore it, not ignore it now that I'm older because I learned. But when I was younger, I would be able to tell if like an area had something dwelling in it, if you know what I'm saying. Like I don't even want to say ghost entity, something that wasn't right. From like age 6. So I don't know if just because of that sensitivity or something like that was the really only benign reason that maybe I was able to end up seeing something like that. I wonder. I don't know. I don't know.
Well, I think from my own personal experience, I had seen something in the sky, and I saw it right next to my dad, and what we saw were two different things. And so
Oh, okay.
there could be something with what you're saying, where it's like one person is has an ability, or in that moment has an ability that the other doesn't. Or again, going back to what I said earlier, which is, maybe my dad wasn't the target, I was. I don't think we were targeted, really. I mean, we both saw the light in the sky. What I saw was light coming off the sides of it, and he didn't see that at all. And people had suggested that it's I don't know what the word is. I don't think it's stigmatism. Maybe it is. Maybe that's what they're saying. But like, yeah, stigmatism. So
Oh yeah, it is. I can
yeah,
definitely attest to that. Trust me.
but the problem with that is I've never had it happen before or since. Like that's the
Yeah,
only
those
time
do
I've
check
ever
out.
seen a light in the sky where streams of light were coming off of it in an arcing manner. Like
Oh my
it
gosh,
wasn't like a
yeah.
straight light. It was like this ball of light in the sky, and the streams of light were coming out and over, almost like an angel's wings. That's almost what it looked like.
Oh,
Uh, and so
that's
I don't know.
cool.
Yeah, it
That's
was
really cool.
it's pretty wild. I was like, okay, time to move to Tennessee. So here we are. So
Well, as much as I wish it were the case sometimes, I mean, it can, but not like that. Stigmatism can get better or worse over time, just depending, and change a little bit for people. But there's usually a constant layer of like, I see explosions when I look at headlights at night or something, just a
yeah.
constant layer of some form of that. So for it to be completely switched on one moment for you and then not, I would say that doesn't seem to check out. That's from my knowledge anyway. I mean, I just wear glasses. I'm not an whatever they call it, that takes care of your eyes.
An optometrist? Is that what it is?
Optometrist,
I,
optometrist,
whatever. I don't know.
whatever one of those. I
You're
don't
talking to a
words.
guy that I don't know half the things I talk about. So
Me too.
a- anyways, listen, I'm gonna get moving here because
No problem.
I have some people here in studio now. So we're gonna keep the show
Yeah,
going longer than I thought we would, but here we are. Janelle,
I really appreciate your time.
thanks for hanging out with me and hopping on this historic day. 100,000.
Oh,
That's
wow,
pretty
great.
cool. All right, guy.
Thank you so much,
I'll see
Tony.
you later. I just called her guy, but I was gonna say guys because it's a bad habit. So Janelle, I wasn't trying to call you a guy. I was just brain farting. So we have an in studio guest here, and as soon as Jack gets in the studio, I'll have him finish setting all this stuff up. But yeah, we have an in studio guest here. I'll announce him here in a second. I don't think he's gonna be a familiar face as much as the name will be familiar for y'all. Hopefully, because his father was a very impactful person in the Bigfoot community. That's what you want to call it, community. Well, you know what? Let's just talk to him anyways, and I'll have Jack set up the tech side of it so that we can get him on screen here. But let me pop him on. Your mic should be live, sir.
Hey, buddy, what's going on?
How are you?
Hey, I'm phenomenal. For everybody, my name is Travis Carpenter. You might know my father as Scott Carpenter. Pretty, pretty impactful human in my life, but definitely in the Bigfoot community, and I would call it a community. They have been absolutely incredible helping me get past his passing and all that. It's been pretty amazing, and one of the things is you get right into it. You text me yesterday. It's like, hey, swing by, and I look and you're so close, and I'm like, oh, I gotta get in there real quick because he's gonna be at 100,000 before I know it. And ate at the House of Waffles and and got here. And my goodness, you're already, what are you at now? 100?
I don't know. I lost track. It went so high, I lost track.
How about that?
Let me pull this up here. It looks like we're at 100,006. I saw it drop down to like 100,003, but hopefully it's not something that is gonna drop below 100,000 anytime soon. Hopefully.
I definitely don't think so. You're phenomenal in what you do and what you bring to this community. Like you said, you said community, and that's absolutely what this is. This is a community of people that are questioning and want to know what is going on and understand that we don't have all the answers. And man, I think you do a great job of bringing everybody into it, because we all have different thoughts, like your past guest said. He's like, I got different thoughts on this and different thoughts on that. And I think you do a good job of listening to everybody and not pushing your own agenda. And I think I love that about you. And I think that's what shows up when you have 100,000 subscribers, man.
Well, I appreciate it, sir. And I'm about to bring you on here. Oh, 1 second. All right, I think.
Fun technical stuff. I do love these black magic cameras. They are pretty awesome.
All right. So I just muted you. Can you say something?
What's going on?
There we go. There we go. Now we're good. And just slide over a bit so you're on camera more. Nope, the other way. There we go. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you Travis Carpenter.
Hey, everybody. Everybody can see me. I don't know which camera I'm supposed to look at.
No, the one with the light on it. You're good.
That's funny.
So yeah, I don't know, man. I think this has been a pretty wild journey, and I don't anticipate quitting anytime soon. And we'll see where it goes from here. But I'll tell you, I'm gonna be taking a pretty famous monster hunter out to the area.
Interesting.
Yeah. I don't know if you've ever heard of Russell Acord.
I haven't. See, that's the one thing I'm not. Community has loved on me so much. I don't deserve the love I've gotten, because I don't know most people in it. I just knew my dad. So now I'm getting introduced to all these people, and I'm like, oh my gosh, that's cool what you do, and oh, that's cool what you do. So I'm learning.
Well, Russell he's on TV, and he has a show called Expedition Bigfoot.
Oh,
and he was going to come out to here a couple weeks ago and film with me and go out to some of these areas, because he was here in studio talking, and we got on the topic of Dogman. I don't know if he actually believes in Dogman,
right?
And he's asking questions about how could something exist and this, that, and the other, and I kind of got weird on him with the woo, and he, at one point, he was sitting in the chair you're at, and he just kind of looks off at the ceiling, and he's just as quiet, and he's like, I forget what he said, but it was like, you could tell he was like, yeah, he's got me on that one. Like, he's got a point, And so,
and I love the folks that don't kind of buy into the woo. It's like, oh, we believe in Bigfoot, and we believe in something that, no one else believes in, and that, but this part of Bigfoot, no, we can't, we have our own little boxes.
Yeah.
And I think that you and my dad and other people, we like to take those boxes and shake them up and just push everything else. And I love that about it.
Yeah. I mean, it's fun. I mean, I don't know, like when as somebody who's never seen, Bigfoot, and
I would put myself in that camp as well.
Right. And I hear people talk so emphatically about what is real with Bigfoot, yet we're still in this same predicament of trying to prove it even exists. I'm like, well, maybe we need to think about it a little different than what we have for the last 50 years.
Man, I'm absolutely right there. I am, I kind of went on that journey with Dad, and as just a supporter with Dad. So it's kind of, people will want me to take on Dad's legacy, and it's like, what do you know about Bigfoot, or what do you do there? And it's like I went through everything that everyone heard. I heard it 4 times before it ever got live or posted. It's probably like your wife. It's like, you like getting the brain things and all that. And it's one of those things to where, you go through and, hey Dad, we're going to go out on a hike together. Cool. So we do this, we get all his gear, and it's like we find, the things. And a lot of people, when they say, oh, you're just a Bigfoot researcher, you're going out, you're making things up. It's like, it's really hard to make things up about, you've been to the places that I've taken. It's really hard to make things up about 3 miles in at 6 p.m. at night. You're walking through and you see, a footprint or something else. And it's like, oh my gosh, that's not supposed to be there.
Yeah.
Or vice versa. I think you were telling me stories about, heck, where we went and some encounters that you had that were a little weird. So
yeah.
I don't know where I was going with that, but it kind of goes to the fact of just everybody's boxes and just kind of mixing everything up together and finding evidence.
Well, I mean, I'll tell you what, I'm hooked to the area. Like that area, I'm hooked. After the things that I've experienced out there, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, Jack, but every time we've gone there, we've had something happen, right? Oh, I muted you 1 second. There you go.
Every time. Even when you haven't been there, I've had stuff happen. So it's just like the area is full of constant activity. I don't know. It's a very strange area. I've like talking with Derek, one of our friends. He does a lot of like research about history of areas and stuff like that. And he said there's just a lot of ancient culture there.
Right. So for anybody that doesn't know, I'm not going to tell you where the area is, but it was very important to my dad. I actually buried Dad there. I did some history on the area, and there was a church there. It had been taken away. There's also Cherokee land like above it. I mean, it's very, very, very rich in history. And then there's also some really weird things like murders and things and people committing suicide there. Have you heard of those stories before?
I have, and I don't know if it was you or somebody else, but somebody told me that murder, like suicide attempts, are frequent out there.
Yes. So I know someone who his first wife murdered herself out there, and he will not go back there. Back where I've showed you kind of where that hot spot is. Yeah. That's where she murdered herself, and they found her in her car.
Wow.
So, I mean, who knows what crazy things have happened, but also not just us, like extremely big names like Les Stroud had his mind speak experience where I took you.
Yeah.
And so it's not just this, oh, one guy's had an experience.
Yeah.
I've had issues there. Dad's has issues there. You guys have had things there. It's really wild.
Your dad, I think, even said that he wouldn't go out there at night.
He wouldn't go out there at night. And that place that I told you about, he wouldn't go in there without me or without someone else. He did it where he encountered the Dogman. If you can look back, basically he found some prints, and it was kind of weird. He wasn't looking for the dog. He was just looking for Bigfoot, kind of like this Expedition Bigfoot guy. And he basically, like, he was there and jumped up on a tree, and Dad couldn't rectify. You know how in your brain you have that cognitive dissonance of this doesn't exist, but I'm looking at it square in the eyes. And I think the story goes is he was looking at it and he chambered around, which I always carry around, I had talked to him about that, but he's an old fuddy-duddy. He didn't want to carry around in the chamber. So he slams back his old high point at the time, which he finally got a Glock, but slams back his old high point, and it says it turns and looks at him. And he said it just stared through him. It was like the most soulless eyes he could ever imagine. It was weird. He said, when you look at a person, you can see something in there. And when he looked at that, there was nothing, and backed away, scared him to death. And I think ever since then, he wanted me or someone else with him when he went to that specific area.
Yeah.
So it's a pretty wild story, but it just, with what everybody's experienced there, who knows what's all in there?
Yeah, it's pretty wild because like when you look at the area, it's not just forest, but there's also a lot of different fields, and it really makes you wonder, like, what is back there. I recently had an episode, what I call it, Field of Terror, I think I called it.
Mhm.
It was a members show, but when he was talking about encountering this dog, they were out there. Is in Kentucky, and they were him and two other guys were hunting in Kentucky at night, and they come across this field, and there was like this fog on the ground, and he said that he saw this thing crawling on the ground, and it stood up on its hind legs, and like when he was describing that whole scene, I kept picturing in my head the field, that the first field you come to back there.
Mhm.
That's the field in my head I kept picturing, and I was like, "Whoo-wee!" Like,
Yeah.
like,
Dude, yeah, that filled up that where you go up to and to the left. That's wild.
Especially that one night when we were there and we saw the lights that we were coming up.
yeah, yeah,
That was because there's like a haze that kind of covers the field a little bit, and just imagining seeing something like that in that field coming up over that little hill, it would just be very crazy.
yeah,
Also, we've had the time lapse there, all that stuff,
yeah.
missing time. So I mean, there's just multiple different events that have happened there.
Not to mention something that ran across the trail behind us and then paced us on the side.
Like directly behind
Yeah,
us.
Dad talked about that all the time. He would say that, he would be walking down that trail and he'd say that they would get off to your right or to your left, and they would pace you. It would be one of those things where like you could hear it, but you can't prove it. And it's so
Yeah.
frustrating because they make it known, but not overly known.
Yeah.
It's so wild. But that everything you're saying makes so much sense
Mhm.
because I've like heard it from him. Oh, this happened, this happened. And it's funny because I know y'all talked a little bit, but it's not like you sit down and have, 5-hour conversations every week. But
I was
everyone's
planning on
saying
it.
this- yeah, exactly. But everyone says the exact same thing. So the question is, are we, for those that are not in the sphere, it's like, are we making this up, or is it like we're having multiple things over and over and over, and it's the same exact little anecdotal things?
Mm.
So for the naysayers, they will never believe anything other than hard evidence. But can we, in this sphere, can we give them that?
Great question.
I don't know. All I know is that area is pretty unique, and I think there's a lot of spaces there that need to be explored. Uh, I don't know how deep you've traveled back there, but I heard, and I haven't seen it yet, but I've heard that there's actually an abandoned building back there.
I know of an abandoned rock wall. I've traveled pretty far, all the way to the end of the road and then back in the back. We can take a boat out there and get back to the top. So, Dad's boat, Dad left me that. We can load that thing up, put in, and we can get to the tip, and then we can look at those fields and do that if you want to. I've really been struggling, by the way. Dad asked me not to research, but define research. That's where I'm at. Like, I don't know. Like, I'm struggling,
All right,
man.
so let me just tell you this. I don't call what I do research.
Okay.
I call what I do stupid.
So is research and investigation, is there,
Yeah.
what's the difference?
Yeah, I don't research because I'm not out there writing down my findings. I'm not out there trying to document things for educational purposes. Like I'm out there for the journey for me, and whether there's a camera there or not, like I'm still going to be doing that because I really like the adrenaline of it. So I'm not really I'm not a researcher. I'm more of a guy who just I'm not an adrenaline junkie. I'm fascinated by topics, and I want to wrangle one, and that's my research.
I love it.
And not that's the nice way of saying what I want to say. But I can't say the K word. But I I want to wrangle one, and once I do, that's the research that I do. I wrangle it, and then I pass it on to the people who do research. My job's done. I'm there for the adventure and the journey. You know what I mean?
I think that's a great way to put it, and I envy that. And you know how we Christians were like, we'll pray about it, but like definitely, man, I don't know. Like I've been pulled. It's like I want to get out, but they're pulling me in, and it's, man, I feel that pull to want to get out there. Is that bad? Am I breaking that promise to Dad? Like, what am I doing here?
I'm not going to tell you what to do.
Yeah, but
but like I think I mean, I don't know. It just pretend you're hunting.
Yeah, that's kind of my thing, is like, I'll be out there anyway.
Yeah.
And I'll be hanging out. It's might as well have some fun. Like I guess that's my thing, is maybe it's a promise that I can't keep because I'm not ignorant anymore. We go out as hunters and fishermen or just everyday hikers, and we go, and once you're kind of a virgin to all of it. You're just not aware. You're blissfully ignorant to the outside, the outdoors, the woods. But once how am I supposed to ignore it? How am I supposed to act like, oh, nothing's there? I know what that means. I know what that means. I know what that means. I know what that means, but I'm not supposed to pay attention to it anymore. I don't know if I can do that anymore. Does that make sense?
It makes sense to me, man. It makes sense to me. I'm not the one. I can't tell you what to think or what to do. All I can say is, with what I do, I'm trying to get comfortable here with this microphone.
Sorry.
With what I do, there's not a whole lot of difference between what I do and what somebody does out scouting for deer.
Absolutely.
Only I'm out there scouting for monsters that come through portals, which I believe. Let me ask you a question here. I have a comment here. This person says from Rumble, okay, I know this guy from the Daily Mojo.
The Daily Mojo.
Does that make sense to you at all?
Maybe. I was once famous for shooting an AR-15 with my little niece. That may be where, and I got picked up by one of those. I guess that's what's up.
There you go.
I don't know.
That's a random pull. I know this guy from the Daily Mojo. How do you even remember that?
I guess. I don't know.
Okay.
So
that was like 10 years ago, maybe.
Now you have a YouTube channel, right?
I do have a small YouTube channel. It's called T Carp. It's TCARP. I like to do bushcraft, survival, stuff like that. I'm actually doing a survival class, another survival class in September. So I like to be out in the woods, fiddle with all that stuff, start fires with bow drills, all that stuff. That's my jam.
That's cool, man.
Dude, I love it. And one of the things that kind of marries the two is, I like being out there. And it's funny because everyone, in the bushcraft community will all have a Bigfoot story or all have that. So I think that's fun. And I love the guns and the knives and all that. YouTube doesn't like the guns, so you have to take that content kind of down a little bit.
Well, I mean, you don't got to take it down. You're just not going to grow with it.
Yeah, you can't grow. Yeah, you can't grow with it.
There's like a minor amount. So if you do bushcraft and stuff like that, you can incorporate it, but it can't be like the main focus. Because there's a few bushcraft channels that do hunt for duck or pigeon or something like that, snow pigeon. But it's like, they don't make that their main focus, and that's just YouTube's trying to suppress as much of that as they can. Though they're really, thanks for 100,000.
Yeah. Thanks for 100,000, YouTube. Don't take us off now.
Don't do that. The kids were asking if you get do you get your play button? Is that the thing?
I guess so. I don't know when it's coming. I heard that it takes a while for it to actually come. But so I don't know. But I will say that we have plans now. So we haven't talked about this publicly. We just planned it. We just started planning it this week, but with us crossing 100,000 subscribers, we are remodeling the studio here. We're going to change some things. Studio A is going to get a facelift. Studio B here is going to get a pretty large facelift. and we're opening up Studio C. We're
Ooh.
having a third studio. And so we're not going to go into great detail about that right now, but we are hopefully within the next month, I'd say, maybe a little bit more than a month because I'm traveling out of state like 5 times in the next 4 weeks. But hopefully in the next, let's just say 2 months, we'll be able to premiere the third studio, which will have a very specific vibe.
Ooh.
Not like it's just to get it out of everybody's head. I'm not going to decorate it with Bigfoot. Okay. That's not happening, but it's going to be more chill and relaxed.
I like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
I'm excited to see kind of what your artistic mind goes to.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, my artistic mind doesn't go very far. That's why I'm consulting with others because this is about as far as my artistic mind goes. So like,
And Dad loved it, dude, man. When Dad came into this studio, I remember sitting there and he's like, you know that Tony Merkel guy, right? And I was like, I mean, I think, well, he hangs out with all those gun guys and all that. Yeah, like you got to know him. I'm like, Dad, I'm sorry, like I don't. He's like, oh, he's got this awesome stuff. He just kept talking to you for like talking about you, like for an hour, man. He loved you to death. He thought the world of you.
well, I'll tell you what, your dad's passing changed the way I do things, and because it's actually almost a year now.
Yeah, man, it's almost a year. It's gonna be August, which is
Wow.
like I feel like we keep talking about it, but I think at the same time, like if you don't talk about the good things of who he was and all that, like
Mhm.
I think that's how you keep him a little bit
Yeah.
of him here.
Mhm.
I always just assumed that when I met your dad, there would always be time. And there were a few times where he would hit me up asking about going down to the area or whatever. And it wasn't the most convenient thing in the moment. So I was like, next time kind of thing. And I always thought that he we'll have Scott Carpenter on the show a billion times. Like,
Mhm.
he's right down the road.
No big deal. Yeah.
Yeah. So I try to I try to keep that in mind as I move forward here and not to drag my feet on certain things. We're rearranging the way things are done on the back end here to allow me to focus in more on what the fun stuff is.
Mhm.
The podcast and going out and boots on the ground, not research.
I think people would love your adventures.
The adventures, yeah, and putting more of the adventures on YouTube, as far as they're not the documentary adventures. Those are like, I mean, it takes significant investment to do those. You can't just put them on YouTube. But more of the action vloggy type things. I have a playlist on the YouTube channel now called Twilight Treks with Tony. Those videos.
Those
Think
are
about
cool.
doing more of those. But I had to free myself up to do that. So very excited about, just bringing things down a notch so I can do more.
I
If that
think
makes any sense.
I think people would absolutely love that. You and Jack's adventures. Oh my gosh, that would be amazing. So
Yeah.
The original Legion of Legends.
Yeah. Yeah, we started out, that was the whole plan, and then it just kind of
Morphed into something different.
yeah, totally unexpected. So 420 people watching live right now. Thanks everybody for tuning in to this live weird
Show.
Wednesday wake up.
Yeah.
Like this episode has been off the rails for majority of this. A majority, because I've had so much going on. I couldn't keep my mind straight, and I still can't remember what I forgot in the very beginning, and it's driving me nuts. Because last week I was like, oh, I forgot to finish that story. That's what it was. What was I trying to finish my story? Somebody go back to last week's show. No, or maybe this week's show. Dang it. It's so close. You ever have that happen where
Yes.
it's right there? I was like, I forgot to finish telling them. Oh, what was it? I don't
why does
remember.
that? So how does that happen? Like our boy. See, I can't remember his name, but he talks about like, okay, why do we have our minds? And then while we're talking and doing that, our mind at the second end is thinking about something.
Yeah.
It's like, well, who's really talking here? Is it us or is it something else? Like, how many us's are there in there? I mean, I could get wild into that.
Yeah. Well, there's definitely at least two going on for me. And it drives me nuts. Lindsay, my wife, she'll send me videos, and it's like therapy for her. Like she's through Instagram of people saying, here's 10 characteristics of an ADHD person. She's like, I feel like I know you better.
Yes.
Like, and things that I never understood. Like they say that people who have ADHD, they don't like large spoons. And I hate large
Oh my
spoons. I
God.
usually opt for a plastic spoon. One, because it feels better on my teeth, but two, it's just I don't like the
Yes.
large spoon thing. And then there's the lights. So Lindsay never, and I didn't know this was an ADHD thing, but I exist without lights. I don't like having overhead lights on. When I'm at home, the lights are off, and she comes in the house, she's like turning on lights and
It's
everything.
like, oh gosh.
Yeah, but apparently that's one of the traits of an
Interesting.
ADHD person. They don't like having lights on. And so like she's like, I don't know what her algorithm is doing, but she's like rediscovering her husband after 17 years.
You just mentioned ADHD so much that it's now her phone is hearing you, and it's like, hey, this is what ADHD
That's
looks
right,
like,
the
and it's your
algorithm's picking it
husband.
up. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, your husband's crazy. She's like,
Wow.
I already knew that, you know?
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. I probably drank too much fluoride growing up. That's my go-to, because how else do you explain it, you know?
Yeah, we all drank out of the water hose back then. We didn't know. We
Water
didn't know.
hose and the toothpaste. I was like, minty. Let me have some more of that. And you lick it all up, and you just take all that poison in. And fluoride. They have us convinced that it's healthy for us.
Oh boy, they do. I'm speaking of that. I got to go to the dentist here in
fun.
45 minutes. So get my fluoride treatment as it is.
Yeah. They every time I go in there, they're like, they ask me if I want the fluoride treatment. And every time, talk about a party in your head, there's multiple people in there fighting for position. But every time, the one that loses says to the other one, Joel would be so disappointed in you.
That's the one that loses?
Yeah, because I'm like, yeah, give me the fluoride treatment. I'm already gone.
Yeah.
You might as well have nice looking teeth.
So they say, though, you don't even, who knows if it really helps you?
How can you prove that it does or doesn't? I know this is such a rabbit trail, but who can prove that? Now, Joel, oh golly, that cat, by the way, that cat is absolutely jacked.
Oh yeah.
And he can sing like nobody's business.
He sings like an angel, looks like a Nephilim.
How about that? I want those genes. Like, how does that happen?
I know.
That's a t-shirt right there for him.
Yeah.
Sings like an angel, looks like a Nephilim.
I mean, really good. He's got the red hair. He's giant, like he's got probably RH negative blood type.
Yeah.
So like he's Nephilim and sings like an angel. I mean, my goodness. So but yeah, I mean, it is what it is, I guess. But now that the chat's going crazy on the fluoride.
Oh, absolutely. We've started something. So like, what are they saying on the chats?
Just say no to the fluoride treatment. Skip fluoride. Yeah.
Skip fluoride. Okay. So we're skipping fluoride. So what's everybody's favorite toothpaste then that doesn't have fluoride?
Tom's.
Is that what? Because I do the Tom's.
But Tom's is now manufactured by Crest or Colgate, I
right?
believe.
Really?
Yeah, and they're owned by Kraft or something.
Oh,
so
see, there's no
like,
escaping it.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
There's no escaping it. I mean, basically, grow your own toothpaste.
That's kind of the thing. Like I can't go pick up like the non-fluoride toothpaste that's part of these 10 companies, at Target. Like, where do we get this stuff?
There's like a toothpaste powder that I've been seeing tons and tons of ads for online. Because I looked that up. I was like, where can I get toothpaste that is going to be good for my teeth? And it's like $20 for this like little vial of powder. So I'm good without spending $20 on that.
Yeah.
The economy is not good enough for me to. Oh my gosh.
You gotta be able to make your own toothpaste.
Okay.
Yeah, like baking soda and some
you can do
soap
that.
or something. I don't know.
Well, baking soda, you can charcoal it. baking soda, charcoal. You can whiten your teeth. What else? There's got to be something else that, yeah, the chat's got to know.
The chat's got to know. They're like, we were talking about the moon and iron bulletproof suits that Trump can wear while he flies to the moon, and now we're talking about fluoride and which one tastes the best.
Weird wake up Wednesday, bro.
Weird
What do people expect?
I'm telling you, like, I mean, this one, listen, I'm gonna have some like buyer's remorse with this week's episode of it, because I'm gonna go home thinking, man, that thing went off the rails fast. Like, because I felt like I was not in a groove within, like, as soon as I forgot what I can't remember still, I was gone. Like, I was like, freak, man, this is going to bother me. And it's like, I already knew it. I wasn't going to be able to let it go. Like, the one guy in there was like, just let it go, dude. Just let it go. The show must go on. I'm like, I can't let it go, man.
I gotta find
it. Was right there. It was right there. And it's gone.
Shoot.
It drives me nuts, man.
I want to shift gears real quick, because next week you and I will be at the Smoky Mountain Bigfoot Conference.
And we will. Link in the description below.
So, real quick, I'll be saying I'll be there, kind of introducing their Cryptid 101.
Yeah, Dogman.
The Dogman, and be kind of saying something about Dad and whatnot. I still haven't figured out exactly what I'm going to say. I don't know if I'm going to sit up there and boohoo or say something, but I think it's going to be around the fact of what you said before. You said, Bigfoot, I guess, community, dude. Absolutely. When he passed, I knew, it was like, okay, you've got the Bigfoot stuff over here. I got emails, messages, phone calls, text. I got things sent to my house of thanking me for being Dad's son, but just saying how much Dad meant to people. And I can't reflect and tell you guys how much that meant to me. People talk about woo and spirituality, and I'm a Christian, and people prayed for us, and I physically felt those prayers. My wife talks about physically feeling those prayers. So when you talk about like this Bigfoot community, or this community of people and the followers that he had, yeah, it is a community, and I am utterly grateful for it, and I can't express my emotions and my feelings of how thankful I am. And I can't be there. That it makes me mad that I can't text everybody back, I can't email everybody back, and I can't love on everybody. But I want them to know how much I'm so appreciative, and I genuinely do care and love them and thank them for what they've done for me.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome. Yeah. You just, I guess in those kind of moments, you don't know what to expect from the world. And it's a unique situation, it's not like, I think most people, if they lose a loved one, their dad or their mom, like most people don't know who that person is, You're in a unique situation where your dad, had a large following, and a lot of people in this world were impacted by what he does. And so it's good that outpouring was the way it was.
It was just incredible. It was just incredible. And I still have people today that email me. I can get back to some, can't get back to others, because you got 2 kids yourself, and a life and work and all that stuff. But man, it's definitely not what I'm expecting. I think we're sitting here looking at cameras and hanging out with each other. We don't see the 400 plus people that are watching live, or the 100,000 subscribers. We don't see that.
Yep.
But they're regular people, and they take enough time out of their day to be like, oh man, I want to hang out with that dude. That's what they're doing. Like, I want to hang out with these bros, or hang out with this guy, or see what this guy says. And the internet can be a really crappy place. Absolutely. But for me, it hasn't been. I think that's a really unique experience.
I think after that, people are going to say, Travis, you should start your own podcast.
I don't know. It's not like I don't have a friend that does it and could help. I don't know. We'll see.
I mean, you got your YouTube channel. People could definitely check that out. That was, oh shoot, where's it? That's going now. But I had it up on the screen there so people could subscribe. T Carp, right?
That's right. So how I got that is I looked through Dad's, literally was looking through Dad's old yearbooks, and they called him Carp. I was like, oh, that's kind of a cool name. I'll just add T to the front of it. So, and from like age 13 was T Carp, and I'm not 13 anymore.
Yeah. So that's interesting that you got that from your dad's, because nobody ever said, "Hey, Carp" to you.
So I was playing football, and my coach played football with Dad, and he called me
Really?
Carp
Wow.
first
Wow.
because that's what he called my dad.
Wow.
So but he's actually owns a big construction company out in Knoxville. Played football with Dad, but yeah, he's the first person to ever call me it. And then it was like, okay, and I just added the T to the front of it. But I was like, where did that come from? Looked in the books, and literally it said that's what his nickname was.
Wow.
It's just Carpenter, just shortened.
Wow. That's cool, man. That's cool.
So,
well,
anyway,
I guess I'm just gonna wrap this thing up. I'm gonna wrap this up. I had Jeremy was texting me saying he was coming in, but I don't know where he's at, so he may not show up. I got Shane Cashman texting me from Tim Pool's camp, and he just reminded me that I'll be on his show on Sunday, Inverted World. You can look that up on YouTube. Can you put it in the chat and I'll put it up on the thing? Inverted World on YouTube. It is a relatively new paranormal podcast. He started it a couple years ago. I was one of his first in-studio guests. I drove down to Virginia and was in studio a few years ago.
Down at the time.
Yeah, down at the time. I was in Philly. And then I did that, and I've been to their studios for a while now because I've done the Pop Culture Crisis show a couple times, and Inverted World. I'll be making my second appearance here this Sunday, so you can check it out, Inverted World on YouTube, and I'll be on live this Sunday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So if you're on the West Coast, California, that would be 3 p.m. your time. If you want to check that show out live, I think last I checked, and this was a while ago, but I think he had like 40,000 people subscribed to it.
Wow.
44, yeah.
Is it 44? Yeah. So, he's got a good following, and he's very intelligent, and he shouldn't be hanging out with me. That's for sure. He's like, he like this guy. I don't even know why he's doing Inverted World, to be honest with you, because he has access to people to be like, he's a journalist. Like he spent like what 2-3 days with Kanye West.
Oh yeah.
And
Yep.
And like all these other people and stuff. Like it's just, I don't know why he's doing Inverted World when he should probably be writing the next banger article for whatever. What's up, man? So come on in. Oh, he's bringing donuts.
Donuts. Ooh, we got
Shoot,
the
man.
donuts, and so I've got to eat a donut, and then and then go to the dentist. Oh
No, leave it open. Leave it open.
Eat the donuts and then go to the dentist. Yeah.
But dude, here's the thing. Like, a lot of people like hanging out with you because you will talk about things that they know to be true, or they know they have questions or whatnot, and no one will talk about it in their realm. So yeah, Tim Pool's humongous, but does he have people to talk about the things that no one else wants to talk about? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think that you do a great job, and I keep saying this, like, muddy in the waters.
Well,
and I'm excited to see you kind of manage these different people up at the Smoky Mountain Bigfoot Conference. You're going to manage that round table of, this guy has this idea and this guy has this idea, and how do we?
That's going to be wild. That's a lot.
That's gonna be fun.
That's going to be so much to go through.
He's setting high expectations.
Yeah.
Well, the family did buy a whole roll of seeds.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Oh, shoot, dude.
Man.
Wow. Okay. Well, I'm gonna start planning that now. No, I think it's gonna be a good time. So we have Matt Sieber, who's a local Bigfoot researcher. You can leave that open, man. And then we have Brian Jeffrey, who has the YouTube channel Paranormal Portal. If you want to zoom that out, Jack.
Yeah.
So he has a YouTube channel called Paranormal Portal, and he and I are the ones that go out together on journeys as well. And so it's really just, it's a good mixture of people. And we also have Matt Pruitt coming on the show as well. So Matt Pruitt is a He's been on the show, and he's a researcher. But I will say Matt Sieber is, from what I understand, real woo-woo. Brian is like a mix of like woo-woo and not so woo-woo. And then there's Matt Pruitt, it's a flesh and blood creature. We just can't find it yet. So like we got a good mix of people up there, and I'm gonna be like, all right, we're gonna set the stage. Everybody agree that Bigfoot comes out of portals, right? Just go for it.
Just everybody says explode anyway.
But go ahead. What were you gonna say?
No, dude. I just want to tell you, I love you. I appreciate everything you've done for me behind the scenes, not just in front of the camera. You've done a ton behind the scenes, and congratulations on your 100,000. You absolutely deserve it. Your team deserves it. You guys work harder than anybody I've ever seen. And thank you for what you do for me. I appreciate you, bro. I'm gonna head out that and go get my fluoride treatment.
Go get that fluoride. Make sure it tastes good. Get the bubblegum flavor. Jeremy, move over to the seat he was in. Hey man, it's good seeing you. Drive safe. Jack, I want you to hop over here for a brief second, because while we're doing this brief intermission, I gotta pee. So can you come over here and hop on the microphone just real quick and hold the show down like now? Because I have to go. Okay. Like that can wait. Like I have to go to the bathroom. So just talk to him real quick, because I got to go.
All right. Gotta get the headphones on. Gotta be professional with it all. Jeremy, what's up, man?
Hey, what do I talk into this?
Yeah.
Are you guys live right now?
Oh yeah.
Cool. I should be watching you guys, but instead I'm late for work and
you're here.
Stopping here.
You're here. Yeah.
I have to pass this place on my way in. So
much for being there early, right?
Yeah, right. Exactly.
Oh man. Yeah, I was just it's hilarious because when he told me that you were coming by, I was like, I walked out there and I was like, where is he? And it was like 30 minutes ago. But we were talking. I was gonna say when I stopped by your house like a few weeks ago or whatever, and we're talking about things like the time slips and ancient history and stuff of certain areas. You actually have and your episode's coming out, I think, in 2 weeks.
Oh, cool.
So your episode will be coming. So for people who don't know, Jeremy here was actually an interviewee on the show. A month and a half, 2 months ago now.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Yeah. So his show will be coming out in about 2 weeks. And when his show comes out, he has a lot of very impressive information about his property and the area around here, history of the area and everything like that. So I was just thinking what we talked about with the like some of your experiences there, especially
no, don't be talking about any of those experiences.
No, his house. There's like some really interesting stuff there.
No. Hang on. I got a guy that's.
You want to sit here again?
Yeah, I want to sit here. I like sitting up here. It's fun. I don't know what you guys were just talking about, but stop it.
Well, I was gonna go into.
No, his episode hasn't aired yet.
It wasn't anything about his episode.
Oh, I want to.
I was like teasing the people with his episode.
Oh, okay.
Like with his knowledge of the area and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah. Well, give me a donut. Oh, yeah. What do we got here?
You got, I don't know. I said assorted.
Here, just bring it over here.
And they probably just gave you all the ones that no one else wants to buy.
We'll show it to the people.
Show them donuts. Have you guys ever seen donuts?
He brings donuts.
Did I miss before you guys got to 100K?
Oh, we hit that real fast.
Oh, dang.
Yeah. I'm going to have this chocolate one. And
Here, I'll take that.
All right. There we go. We're going to eat on the show today. Yeah, no, I went to bed last night, and at like 11 o'clock, it was 99,828, I think.
Oh, geez.
And so this morning I woke up and it was literally 100 more. It was 99,928 at like 4 o'clock or something. So
shoot.
Yeah, I was like, okay, we're definitely hitting it today. And I actually had to rush my getting on here today because it it was like 25 away from 100,000 when I went live. So I was like, this is gonna happen. This is like a baby being born. No stopping it now. It's coming.
Nope. Yeah.
So let me eat this while you guys talk.
And
Oh,
I'm terrible waking up in the mornings. You'll find out in the episode. I had an incident happen to me about a year ago, and ever since that, it's makes it very hard to sleep at night. Makes it very hard to wake up in the morning. So I'm perpetually late for work all the time, but that's fine because it's my business and I can be late as I want to, but I'll have to stay late too. But anyways,
You see the difference?
What?
Do you see the difference there?
What? It's my business that I'm late.
I do what I want. So, anyways, I was collecting some thoughts when you texted me last night about what the event and stuff, and I can't stay long because I gotta get back in there and help my wife. She was supposed to take off today, but
Tell her I'm sorry.
but let's see. So I was reading this fascinating piece of old literature. I was listening to something after our interview, almost immediately afterwards, and it was a song, and in the song they say like something like "You're not like Mistopheles." And I was like, as I've heard the song a bunch of times, and I was like, well, who's Mistopheles? I'll look into it a little bit. And it comes from the story of Goethe's Faust, which is an interesting tale about a theologian, doctor type guy in Germany who gets very jaded with his life and is about to commit suicide. And the devil comes to him and makes a pact with him and says, I will give you all this knowledge and power, and let you command over a demon. And in return, I'll get your soul, and it will be a pact for a certain number of years. And he gets command of this Mephistopheles character, who's a demon, who just allows him to kind of do these magical powers, and it's kind of interesting story about how this guy is corrupted from a man of religion and theology, and by the end of the story, he's turned basically evil into how they describe as a man of science. So it's kind of an interesting tale about how science and the overpacking of knowledge in your head will corrupt you. But from reading about that, I got spun off onto this whole tangent of this really, really interesting book. I was starting to tell you about it, and it's a really interesting one. So have you heard of the Testament of Solomon?
Yeah.
So the Testament of Solomon is the story. Solomon's building his temple, and a young scribe in the temple who's not a working man. He's like indoors in the temple. He's like a writer, and Solomon likes him, and he is having his food and his money stolen, and Solomon wants to know why, because he's paying him more than everybody else because he likes the guy. And the guy says, well, this demon's coming to my house at night and sucking my thumb and stealing my profits and stealing my food. And it gets Solomon, I think he prays about it and asks for some guidance, and the Archangel Michael comes to him, and he gives him this, they call it a sigil, a ring, and it's like they describe it in there as having a stone on it, like an amulet, and it's a golden ring with a snake wrapped around it. And with this sigil, Michael tells Solomon that he's going to get a rash of demons thrown at him throughout the whole book is just about this, is demon after demon. And he tells him if you can bind the demon with the stone by throwing it or marking him with the ring, and then the demon has to do your commands, kind of like Mephistopheles is ordered to work for Faust. And so it starts off with the demon who's perpetrating the incident of sucking the guy's thumb and stealing his his life force, his soul, or whatever, his money. And he is Ornelius or something. And Solomon successfully binds the demon and gets him to start, well, tell him what his name is, tell him where his star is, and then tell him what angel the demon is afraid of. Because apparently that we learn in the book that is how you silence the demon, is they each have a corresponding angel who will can put fear into them or make them stop doing what they're doing. And Orneus, the demon, he tells him who he is. He has Solomon punishes him and whips him, and he becomes physical as he gets the stone put on him. So the demon starts building the temple as a punishment, and then Solomon comes on to the next demon, and it goes after for a couple demons, but it hits this one demon called Asmodeus or Asmodeus. And this guy's a pretty big figure in the Bible because he shows up in more than just one story of the Bible. I think there's a story about him inflicting damage on this Rachel, Old Testament Rachel. But he says something really interesting, and I had this quote pulled up. When I read this, it just really stuck out to me. So I figured I'll just read it here on the show. And so here's how the passage is. And I at once bade another demon to be led onto me. And instantly there approached me the demon Asmodeus, bound, and I asked him, "Who art thou?" But he shot me a glance of anger and rage and said, who art thou? And who art thou? And I said to him, "Thus punished as thou art, answered thou me." But he with rage said to me, "But how shall I answer thee? For thou art a son of man, whereas I was born of an angel's seed by a daughter of man, so that no word of our heavenly kind addressed to the earth earthborn can be overweening." So he cannot be commanded because he's like the son of an angel. But what he says after that I find very interesting. "Wherefore also my star is bright in heaven, and men call it some the wane, and some the dragon's child. And I keep near unto this star. So ask me not many things, for thy kingdom also after a little time is to be disrupted, and thy glory is but for a season. And short will be thy tyranny over us, and then we shall again have free range over mankind, so that they shall revere us as if we were gods, not knowing men that they are the names of the angels set over us." So what's interesting about that is this is besides Beelzebub in the story, who's the prince of demons, who you find that Solomon and Beelzebub, who comes pretty shortly in sequence, he is different from the other demons because he's the prince of demons. And he kind of, unlike the other ones who lash out and are upset about Solomon's binding of them, Beelzebub kind of agrees to work with Solomon. For what purpose? To build the temple? It's not really that clear. But this Asmodeus character is, as he claims, about as high ranking as Beelzebub, and is really defiant, a lot more than the other ones that you find in this book. And what he says is that thy kingdom is short, and that the demons will eventually take over, unbeknownst to man, and that men will have no power over it because they won't know the names of the angels who command the demons. So so that's, and they also say that anyways, that so it's pretty interesting, this declaration by this demon that, you know, that the time of men is short, the glory is short, but we won't even know that the changes happen and that these demons will be floating around causing all sorts of chaos. And a big part of this book is that at the end of each demon story, Solomon asks the demon what the angel is. So you know, the first one answers Michael, and then there's Brius, there's all these angels, and it's not, they're not Raphael, the angel, Joel is mentioned pretty vigorously by some of the demons. And it's interesting because it's not something I feel like people often think about. Is, you know, you always hear it's like, well, you can know the name of the demon and that should give you power over the demon, is what they've said, or what, you know, ancient texts have said. But they're saying you need to go a little further than that, and you need to know which corresponding angel is the counterpart to the demon, to therefore shut it up. The story goes on, and it's just sequence of demons just helping him, and then he puts them on tasks building the temple, which is interesting in itself. So they're saying that the first temple, the temple built by Solomon, was built entirely by demons because it was too big and too grand to be built by men. And so they physically are doing the work there. And while he's talking to each demon, the other demons are in the background, enslaved and bound and punished and working for him. But what he gets to this other demon a little bit later on, and he says, "Okay, I bade you, demon. Who art thou?" And the demon says, "I am staff," or rhabdos. I guess is what staff is in Latin. And rhabdos is different from all the other demons you meet in the story, because rhabdos is the only demon who comes to him as fully animal. All the other demons were mostly men, maybe with with like an animal characteristic or so, like a extra head of something, or you know, like a feet of a goat or whatever, you know, a picture of demon. But this demon, Rhabdos, comes to him and is just as defiant as like the major demons, and says, "Solomon, hail me, for I am staff." And he's asking, and most of the demons come and bow to Solomon because they don't want to be punished, and like they see the other demons do. This guy's asking Solomon to bow to him because he's so great and powerful. And he comes to Solomon in the shape of a giant black hound. What's interesting about Rhabdos, this giant black hound, is what he tells Solomon, obviously. And here I have it right here because it's kind of interesting. Okay, so he says, okay, then I ordered another demon to come before me, and there came into my presence a hound, having a very large shape, and it spoke with a loud voice and said, "Hail, Lord King Solomon." And I, Solomon, was astounded. I said to it, "Who art thou, O hound?" And it answered, I do indeed seem to thee to be a hound. But before thou wast, O King Solomon, I was a man that wrought many unholy deeds on earth. I was surpassingly learned in letters, and was so mighty that I could hold the stars of heaven back. So he's saying that before he was a hound, he was a man who could do many great things, miracles, as he almost puts it, hold the stars back. He was a learned man of many letters, like a scribe, maybe. And they don't specify in this book because it's not a very long one, but we don't know who gave him these the powers that he had, whether it was God or whether it was like a Beelzebub figure. But Rhabdos is turned into a hound, and they don't elaborate why he was turned into a hound, just that he was a short time before Solomon was a prophetic figure who was great at writing, great speaking, and could do pretty much acts of divination, miracles. And it's kind of thought that this guy was corrupted so much that he was somehow turned into this hound. And what he and then he says about how he is able to um so he says, "I- For I do harm to men who follow after our star and turn them to," and this is where it gets really interesting because the book has been I forgot exactly where it's found, but it's thousands of years old. It's old as the Book of Tobit. It's Old Testament, and they have a lot of the book, almost the whole thing entirety, but this passage is corrupted, and no scholar knows exactly what was put here due to the corruption. And so I do harm men who follow after our star. We don't know what he means by our, and we don't know what he means by corrupt the men. Do these men turn into hounds like he does? What star is he following? We don't know, because unlike most of the book, like I said, that's just kind of scribbled out there in the original text. So they haven't been able to figure this out. And I seize the frenzied men by the larynx, and so to destroy them. And then he says that the angel, he gets the name of the angel who commands him. He says the great Brius. Never heard of the name Angel Brius, but if you're ever after Dogman, maybe remember the name Brius.
Brius.
And so what's so interesting about him is that Rabdos, all the other guys have basically just go to work after telling them what they do to people and afflict people, and then Solomon binds them, they go to work. Rabdos doesn't say anything like that. He's really short. All he says is that he's like, well, what are you, Solomon says, what are you going to do for me? And Rabdos says, give me a man of yours, and I will lead the man into the mountains, deep into the mountains, and will find him this emerald stone that has been tossed round and round, that you shall adorn your temple with. And that's about it. And so they go off. He sends a man off with the demon, and what the demon does for Solomon is gets him this pretty stone to adorn his temple with. Which is interesting, because a demon giving you some sort of amulet to have power over your temple seems like a pretty odd thing for Solomon to just agree to willy-nilly. Because something I had really wanted to dive into was the amulets of this ancient Tennessee, North Carolina area, because I believe that one of the fallen angels is what the Cherokees and the people who preceded them here called the Great Snake. The Great Snake Lord, he is horned snake, and he fell from the sky after being killed in their folklore by the giant Thunderhawk, and then he became basically the size of a mountain range because he's so big. And then
I'm gonna stop you
Yeah,
there.
yeah.
I'm gonna stop you there because a couple of things here. I have tech stuff going on here that I'm seeing that I'm no longer recording, which is a problem for my audio listeners later. And also, I've been going for 3 hours, and I have an hour before I have to be on again, and I need to take a break because
Yeah.
I've been sitting here for too long. And I'm supposed to record a show, two interviews today. So let's wind this down.
Yeah.
All right. 100,000 subscribers, 400 people watching. Thanks everybody for hanging out and being part of the journey. I am just gonna finish this off because I'm cooked, and I'm very concerned about being able to pull off an interview now because I'm toast. But anyways, you guys are awesome. Thanks for hanging out with us. There's Jack. One more time, say hi, Jack.
Hi, Jack.
Ladies, he's single. Just saying. So yeah. Anyways, thanks for tuning in, guys. Let me just wrap this up here. Okay, cool. Let's say goodbye to them. And next Wednesday, we'll be hopefully going live again. And when we go live again next Wednesday, I'm hoping that I'm not as scatterbrained as I was as today went, because once that 100,000 was ticking, I was pretty unfocused. So I appreciate everybody being here. Go ahead and check out merkelfilms.com if you haven't done so yet. We have some awesome documentaries there. And of course, get yourself some Merc merch. And we will be at the Smoky Mountain Bigfoot Conference hosting a roundtable discussion. Like I said, it was going to be Matt Sieber, Matt Pruitt, and Brian Jeffrey. Brian Jeffrey from Paranormal, Black Mass Paranormal. And guys, it's going to be an awesome conversation. You guys saw and heard Travis Carpenter here in studio. He's going to be there. And so if you within like a 2-3 hour radius, I'd say come on out to the Smoky Mountain Bigfoot Conference. And then literally like 5 days later, I'll be in Charlotte speaking at the Armed Media Conference. So if you are somebody that is in the media, this is a Christian media conference, and they've asked me to speak on the first day. And it's basically, how can we do media better? And I can tell you honestly, like my experience at the Armed Media Conference last year, as just somebody who was attending, was revolutionizing the way I thought, to the point that literally Armed Media is the reason why I'm hitting 100,000 subscribers today. Because we came back from Armed Media with a new focus on video, and it's evolved over the last year. It will continue to evolve and get better as time goes on. But if you are somebody who is, a podcaster, a YouTuber, and of the faith, this might be the event for you. If you're not, you're more than welcome to come too and join in the conversations. So anyways, friends, thanks for hanging out with us. 3 hours. Every week that I've gone live now, it's gotten longer and longer. I promise you next week will be about 45 minutes to an hour, because I do not have this kind of time every Wednesday to be talking live on YouTube. So with that said, you guys are great. Thanks for being here. And I feel like I want to say the usual sign off, but I can't do that for Monday morning, Wednesday. So I'm just going to say goodbye. Bye.
Softly, let's enjoy for a while. Embrace the morning, let your heart take flight. Weird Wednesday, wake up, everything's alright.